Welcome into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you live and local inside our Family Leisure Studios. A Thursday afternoon. Landon Schmidt producing for us. A lot to get into this afternoon. The first round of the NBA draft is complete. It all went down last night at Barclays Center, and we know what the Grizzlies did, trading up to number 11 to take Cedric Coward. We'll talk a lot about that. We'll talk a lot about what happened around the NBA with the rest of the first round. Obviously, round 2 tonight. Grizzlies have a couple of picks in the second round. So a lot of NBA discussion today, a lot of draft talk today. We also got to get to some Major League Baseball, a lot of day games today as well. So plenty to get to over these next 3 hours. But Brett, how are you this afternoon?
Brian, I'm doing well. And last night I kept waiting for the fireworks and rose to what, maybe a firecracker level?
Maybe, yeah. You know, for all the talk of all of the action we could see, especially in the top 10 of teams trying to trade in, teams trying to trade back, you know, there was nothing in the top 10. It was just everyone taking their guy. It really was, you know, definitely some surprising, picks in that top 10, but nothing big time in terms of drafts or, you know, surprise teams coming up to get their guys. So, yeah, it was a little uneventful in that top 10.
Locally, we know the move. Cedric Coward now drafted. I would love the honesty test. Not you. I know you did know. 10 days ago, everybody's got the full breakdown dossier on Cedric Coward. They didn't know he was on the planet.
Well, Brad, I'll tell you, and you're going to love this. The moment I learned about Cedric Coward, I had seen him a couple times at Eastern Washington, just being a degenerate and betting on Eastern Washington basketball games, but never noticed him really.
I bought all that except for the degenerate.
Well,
I do know you watch him and follow it.
But the first time I really knew the name Cedric Coward, and you're going to love this, was when he committed to Duke. When he became a Dookie, I said, all right, I guess I need to look into this guy.
Proof positive. My theory. You're a Dookie.
I'm a Dookie. What can I say?
No doubt.
No doubt about it, I guess. But, they traded up, made the move.
Why did he not end up at Duke?
Well, because he going to the draft. He got enough good feedback back. And It was so after this year at Washington State, he was originally committed
now the
to
D3
Duke.
School, help me with pronunciation. Is it Willamette or
Willamette?
Willamette
Is how I've been. What I've heard is it's Willamette.
Okay, because I've heard either on that word, a little like Palestine, Arkansas.
That's right.
Well, there's no Palestine on any map. It's not recognized by anyone. But anyway, so either or either for Willamette or Willamette.
Willamette, yeah, that's what I've been hearing.
I'll go with what they call it.
And supposedly they're very protective of how you say it. Like they don't like you saying it wrong. I was watching one pre-draft thing, and he was like, I need to make sure I'm saying it right because I was attacked by Willamette fans and Willamette graduates that I said their university's name wrong. So there you go.
Is that right?
Willamette, I guess.
All 800 of them.
That's right. Yeah, just very, very protective of how you say their name. I guess. Who would have known?
So here we are again with a first-round pick that a lot of us didn't know a lot about them. It feels like we have been here before. We've been here before with Zaire. We've been here before with the combination of Jake LaRavia and Big Body Roddy.
Yeah. Well,
we know what we got out of all that.
Yeah, and I think that's a concern. I think you look at some of these first-round picks, some of these first-round moves, to go up and get guys. I think all three of these now involved some sort of trade to get in that position to get those guys. And so, yeah, I think there's definitely a little concern there. I'll say, especially with Zaire, Zaire's a guy that I watched a lot of when he was at Stanford. That was the COVID season, and he was either out with injury or he was out with COVID or whatever. And really, when he was in there, he didn't look great either, And I think, Cedric Coward has definitely, when he's been out there before the injury and when he was at Eastern Washington, has looked the part at least. There's definitely concern there. This is a guy that you read anything post-draft or even really pre-draft, it's this guy's a swing, but this guy could be huge for whoever gets him. And obviously the Grizzlies liked what they saw out of him. They believed what they saw in him and what these projections look like for him. And so they made the move to move up and take him at number 11.
Brian, you tell me if you think any of this is accurate,
Okay.
or where you agree, where you disagree.
Okay.
Please let me know.
Yeah.
I feel like there is a palpable, I mean, it's a defined split of media, Memphis media, covering the Grizzlies and their affection, admiration, support of front office
Sure.
with rank and file.
Yeah.
Do you think that is accurate?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay. Under that premise of, I'm talking about Zach Kleiman.
Sure.
It feels to me like among the media, whatever umbrella you want to, however big you want to have it, TV, radio, podcasts, whatever, all that is credentialed to games, and I just covered about everything that gets that the admiration, support, deference to, if it's 50-50 to call it a ball or a strike, I don't know which way, I guess they call it a strike for Zach Kleiman, that it's there. But rank and file, ticket buying public, they're much more agitated and much more ready to criticize and critique heavily. Why do you think both camps operate the way they do? Why do you think the media seemingly is so very supportive, reluctant to ever really get down on anybody? I don't know that they've done that much that deserves just a full broadside, but I'm not making it up, am I, when I say they've won one playoff series in their management tenure.
Yeah, no, that's the facts. I mean, you can very quick. We talked about Google being a very reliable source. I mean, you just go Google it, and then you'll get that answer coming up. I don't know. I mean, I think,
and then tell me the psyche of the fans that they are reluctant and castigate a little more.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it. When it comes to, I mean, I'll start with the fans. I think the fans they want to win games. They want to go deep in the playoffs. They want to do all that, and they want to succeed now. They look at, the kind of guys that you've had of Ja and Jaren, and they've seen that these guys should be taking us to the next level. We should be making moves to go to the next level, and I think they've seen themselves get burned. And, you watch Jake LaRavia, you watch David Roddy get drafted, and everyone telling you, oh, these guys are going to be great pieces, and they're going to be awesome, and then they're terrible. They stink. They're no good. And you get burned enough times. You now want to question a lot of things. And
there's something else that the fan does. They pay.
Oh yeah, no, and that's the thing is they're the ones going there.
That's
and watching
hard-earned jack.
Exactly, and they're the ones there watching it and taking it in and making that decision. I'm going to buy this ticket. I'm going to buy this season ticket package to go watch this. And so then when guys don't pan out and they've been told, oh, these guys are great. This was a great decision by the front office. You get burned and you don't like getting burned, and now you start questioning it because you kind of start seeing it. I think for the media side, I don't know. I think there's always kind of that thought of, you don't want to get on the wrong side of somebody, and you don't want to, if you ridicule something they say, will access be taken away? I think sometimes we overestimate that and question that too much, and then I think it kind of clouds our judgment.
And in my time covering the Grizzlies since day one that they've been here, I don't ever remember a case of even light criticism of anybody ever going through that. And I would hope, I'd love to see it. I would hope that if anybody did have that happen to them, that the rest of the brohams and sisters in the media would defend.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hold my breath for that, though.
No, definitely not. But I think you're right. I think you see that split a lot of times, and so we'll see how it comes from here. Obviously, I think more moves coming. As we get through off season. But
I watched and listened last night, and I saw it described as deft move. And all the back of the book quotes about Cedric Coward.
Yeah. Yeah, well, hey, that's kind of
who we didn't know from Cedric the Entertainer.
That's a good point.
6 weeks ago.
That's right. I mean, but that's also the draft. To an extent. I mean, everyone is selling selling sunshine with all these guys with the picks for the most part.
And I think some of that goes back to, and I was certainly there. Mm-hmm. I was there. I don't know that I was first to say it, but I know I said it in Climbing We Trust. In this front office we trust. Hadn't we hit that expiration date of that?
Oh, definitely. And I think especially with with drafts, when you look at some of these guys, I mean, you just mentioned 3 guys that they took and that we were all sold on of that guy's gonna be next, and none of them are on the roster now.
I don't need to hear they took Ja. 29 teams after Zion Williamson's name had been called were going to turn in that card.
Yeah, that was easy. I mean, that was super easy to make that pick. And I mean, same can be said for Jaron. I mean, Jaron was going to be a top 5 pick,
and that was year before, but
sure,
a different management.
Right, but if you're just going back to guys that were drafted, I mean, those 2 were very easy picks. When you're talking about going into a draft and really finding that guy. I can't compliment anybody for making that pick at anywhere between 1 and 5 or 1 and 10, really.
And I don't really get that mindset of, and I think you're accurate. Mm-hmm. Of, oh boy, I don't want them mad at me.
Right. Yeah.
What of it?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm spitballing here. I don't because I don't know.
Well, I think you're right. I think you're right about that mindset.
Sure.
But if you did to them, real or perceived, say do something highly critical, and they strip credentials and they strip parking, and you're banished to the upper reaches of Section 220 by that door, up by 220. Mm-hmm. Okay, what of it?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's how I look at it, but.
Yeah,
I don't know because you're right. There is it feels like we're starting to see.
I think it's as softball a coverage collectively as I've ever seen anything covered around here.
No, I think you're probably right. I think you're probably right about that, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. But we saw what happened last night. The Grizzlies, they make the trade up. In that trade, they send to Portland last night's number 16, which that pick everyone is questioning by Portland. They traded number 16, the 2028 first-rounder from Orlando, and 2 second-round picks. So 4 picks total being sent to Portland to move up a handful of spots from 16 to 11 to draft Cedric Coward. And we'll see. I know he talked with the media a little bit last night. Obviously, a guy, we've talked about it a little bit, only played 6 games at Washington State before getting a season-ending injury. Did shoot at the Combine, obviously did shoot in his visit with Memphis, but has not yet cleared being able to play yet. He said last night that he's hoping that he's cleared very soon, that he thinks he'll be cleared very soon, and he wants to play in Summer League. I don't know if he will.
Who cares?
Or if he will not. It's exactly right. But I think the biggest
thing... That whole thing could be canceled for all I care.
Well, but what I mean is, I asked DeMichael of where are we with this injury? Is this a guy that this injury is going to, go closer to the season where he can't participate in camp or anything and, try to get acclimated with his teammates?
You know what the Summer League is?
What's that?
Glorified Bluff City Classic.
It really is. But I do think it's good news that if he thinks he's going to be able to play in Summer League, well, then that means that very soon it would seem he's going to be cleared and be able to get out there, and that means preseason, training camp, all of that stuff. When he really needs to get acclimated with his teammates, get acclimated with his head coach, he can be out there on the floor, and that's certainly the biggest thing going into the season.
We think, and we sure hope that the picks from last year with Cedric Coward really turns into something.
Yeah.
So at the same time, those 2 picks from last year and Cedric Coward are turning into something. What's the odometer on Ja and Jaron at that point?
Yeah, that's a good question, and that's I think what this front office has to decide.
You get up there to year 8, year 9, and okay, you've won a series or 2 by then. You get to for Ja 8, for Jaron 9, or for Ja 9, Jaron 10, and you've won 3 playoff series.
Yeah. And that's the question. I know Zach Kleiman last night when speaking to media, he said that they're not one player away from being able to contend. So
all right, with that, what if you were sitting at Starbucks having coffee with Zach Kleiman and he said that to you, what would be the next thing out of your mouth to him?
Well, I would ask what gets you closer to being that. I mean, what
and many more
yeah,
players.
I mean, what is that? What does that look like? Because if we already knew he said we're not close at the exit interviews, and then last night he said we're not a player away. So what does that look like? Give me a better idea of what exactly.
3? Exactly. And we know, unless you've had the off season of all time, you're not picking up that many players in one off season.
No, certainly not. Certainly not.
Then you better hope injuries go your way, and good luck and all that.
Yeah, so we'll see. It's a big offseason for the Grizzlies, and we'll see what they do tonight, if they make some trades out of the second round, what they do tonight, and then obviously once free agency and really a lot of trades get going afterwards, we'll definitely be keeping a close eye on what the Grizzlies do. But we got a busy show today, so let me set it up before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, we're going to talk the NBA draft last night, everything we saw in the first round, what jumped out to us in that coverage, in that draft last night on ESPN. 3:45, we'll talk about the Grizzlies, get a little bit more into what this roster looks like now, a little bit more into Cedric Coward. We'll do that at the end of the hour. 4 o'clock, Keith Smith from Spotrac and the Front Office Show. He'll join us. We'll talk a ton of NBA with him. We'll talk a lot of draft with him. We'll get his thoughts on Cedric Coward. He was live last night on the Front Office Show, breaking down every single pick of the first round of the NBA draft. So we'll get his thoughts on what we saw last night in the NBA draft. 4:30, we'll talk some baseball. A lot of fun action last night, and even some games today in action, as it's a Thursday. Not every team going, but some fun matchups today we'll get to at 4:30. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Greg Gaston. He'll join us to talk Tigers like he does every single Thursday afternoon. 5:30, we'll get to what's trending, and at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Mo's Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure studios where family and fun come together. It's pool time, and Family Leisure is already booking pool installs for 2025. Buy now and get on the list for your pool installation. 2024 pool starting at $19.99 installed, with liners starting at $299. And right now, all pool accessories are up to 20% off. 5 to 6 person hot tubs starting at $69.99, with swim spas and cold plunge tubs now $2,000 off. Don't forget about patio furniture. Select sets now up to 50% off. And if you mention this ad, get free installation only at Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40.
Bryant, you can get ready next year. My seat's going to be up by that door in 222.
I mean, it's your favorite seat. You've been there before. I mean,
been there before.
That's right.
Maybe the only person in town that didn't complain when they moved us from one end to the other.
Oh, no.
I didn't care.
Who cares?
He's Brian. I'm Brett. We're Sportstime. Our producer is Landon Schmidt, and we're with you until 6 o'clock. And we want you to be a part of our show by texting or calling at 901-360-8255. Tell us what you think about the Grizzlies' moves or lack thereof last night and what you expect for next year. We'd love to hear from you at the Sissy's Log Cabin text line. All our guests will appear on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line at 901-360-8255. Always from our Family Leisure studio, where if you don't have a pool right now, you're just melting. Mm-hmm. You can get a pool by this time tomorrow from the great people at Family Leisure. Give them a call on that. This hour brought to you every day by our title sponsor this hour, and that's Lexus of Memphis, 2600 Ridgeway, and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all 2025 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Call them at 901-334-9673. But they want you to stop by the only Lexus dealership in town at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2025 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design that makes for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day, it's the Grizzlies trade last night, moving up into the first round, and that pick, Cedric Coward. He's a guy that I've been talking about for the last couple of weeks as a guy that I thought the Grizzlies should target at number 16. He'd been mocked to the Grizzlies by a lot of people at number 16, but they decided to move up to number 11 to draft him, swapping picks, trading a couple future future picks to the Portland Trailblazers to go out there and get Cedric Howard. I go back to a mock draft I was looking at a couple days ago from ESPN. It was Jonathan Gavoni and Jeremy Wu who talked about had Cedric Howard mocked to Memphis at 16, but in that story pointed out that there were other teams that were looking at Cedric Howard. Those teams were number 10, the Phoenix Suns, number 12, the Chicago Bulls, number 14, the San Antonio Spurs, and number 15, the Oklahoma City Thunder. So it sounds to me like the Grizzlies heard or saw that one of those teams in front of them were looking at Cedric Howard and would likely draft him if he was on the board. So they made the decision that they need to move up. That was their guy, and they went out there and got him. We know what everyone's saying about Cedric Howard, not a huge sample size, obviously, with his time at Washington State, but an older guy, a guy that has been a late bloomer, that has been developing, and everything you hear from him, it looks like he could project very well into an NBA. Has a great frame. The frame is the big thing that a lot of people are talking about with him, no matter where you look in terms of draft coverage for him. You know, he's 6'6" with shoes, about 6'5.5" without shoes, but his standing reach is about 8'10" with a 7'3" wingspan. So, I mean, this is a guy that is very long, and we know that can turn into good, valuable traits defensively, has a good three-point shot that I think can translate to the next level. I really like this pick. I think it can pan out for the Grizzlies. Now, it is, you're taking a swing. I saw someone calling it a big swing of the night was taking Cedric Howard because you just haven't seen a ton from him. But I've liked what I've seen. I've liked what I've read about people that cover this draft, and we'll see what he can turn it into for the Memphis Grizzlies.
And I hope it is successful, and I hope the Grizzlies are successful. And one of these days, we're talking about 500,000 people in the streets of Memphis at a parade like the commissioner was talking about last night. For 500,000 people in a town of 700,000 showing up for – that's almost new math.
It really is almost new math.
My top story, Cedric Howard, your new Memphis Grizzlies player. Number 11 overall. First time ever in team history the Grizzlies have picked from the 11th spot. A lot of confidence in Zach Kleiman. Exactly why? Why so much confidence in Zach Kleiman? We're not in the halcyon days of Desmond Bane being that great kind of reach pick. Now we're not so sure that the reach pick of Gigi's that good anymore. And Bane's gone. So exactly what is the expiration date for Zach Kleiman we trust? Bane's out, KCP, and Cedric Howard are in. Are we getting closer?
Not top story of the day.
That's the question we'll have to find out. Are we getting closer? Well, my not top story of the day, it's the rest of what we saw last night in the NBA draft. We talked a lot about maybe the potential of a lot of trades in the top 10, certainly a couple trades in the top 10. We did not see any of that, but the big surprise of the night in the top 10, at least the first surprise in the top 10, was Ace Bailey going to the Utah Jazz after he made it very clear that Utah was not a team that he wanted to go to, not one of his preferred locations.
Welcome to Salt Lake City, Ace.
Utah said, we don't care. We like
They got banks in Salt Lake City, Ace.
Yeah, you're going to get paid the same amount of money.
Goals on each end of the court.
That's exactly right. A lot of things are very similar in Utah that they are around the NBA. So he went at number 5 to Utah, and then some of the other surprises.
It was kind of funny.
Yeah, it was hilarious. It was so
Ace
funny.
tried to engineer the draft.
He sure did, and it backfired on him. I mean, going out there, so much so that he went out there and said his preferred locations. Like, I've never seen that done before. That's insane.
Yeah, take that, Ace.
Yeah, and then it backfired on him. He goes to Utah. Some other things in there that were a little surprising. Yegor Deming goes all the way at number 8 to Brooklyn.
I love him. Remember, I had BYU in the Final Four
preseason.
Sure did.
I like Yegor Deming.
Okay, maybe I was a year ahead.
Hey, but this is your year, Brett. Run it back, and A.J. DeBond's out there. I mean, this is the year to be all in on BYU. And then a couple of trades that we saw in that first round that were a little surprising. New Orleans trading their unprotected 2026 first-round pick to move up and draft Derek Queen. A big surprise there, because what will New Orleans be next year? I don't think many people are very high on them. So definitely
about 18 wins.
That's exactly. So why in the world are you trading your unprotected first-round pick? I don't get it, but it was, despite not a ton of big-name, big-time headline trades happening in the draft, I thought it was an eventful night, a fun night, and a lot of interesting fits around the NBA with some of these young guys.
I'm with you on not top story of the day. It was the rest of the night. A year after winning their 18th NBA championship, the very proud, one of the teams of American sport of all time, the Boston Celtics, look like they're totally remaking their team. They have to for some economic factors. One of the biggest, the new owner, but another one, they just won a title, and they are strapped under the new system with the aprons. We'll get Keith Smith to explain that to where a third grader like me can really understand it. But the Grizzlies held pretty firm last night, and with a lot more talk than there really was action. We will see if it turns into anything. Ja and Jaren together again, I'll say it, won one playoff series.
Yeah.
That's what they're measured by. That's what we all are measured by now in sports. You're measured by majors. You're measured by NCAA tournament success. You're measured by college football playoff success. You're measured by October in baseball. We know that. We know the Grizzlies do a lot of great things around town, but this is what they're in business for.
Yeah.
They're in business to advance in the postseason.
Yeah.
Not to be fun in games October through March.
That's right, yeah. No, I think everyone's tired of watching first-round exits. They want to see this team advance.
Are they? Are they tired?
Fans?
We'll see.
Oh, yeah. I think fans are certainly tired of first-round exits. And so I think you're going to start seeing kind of back to that disconnect between, maybe the fan base and the front office.
And on the coddling by some of the media, why does it seem so intent to do that when the Grizzlies give everybody in town nothing on stories? Yeah. Nothing. You don't get the league opening night opponent anymore.
Yeah, it's a good point.
We may get big, groundbreaking, Grind City media breaking news of who the musical entertainment will be for opening night.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, just nothing. So I don't know. It's a question
we don't
we've
get
asked
the
before.
anthem singer anymore on MLK Day.
No. But I mean, it's a question we've asked, and I don't think we have an answer for it.
And they don't travel with them, and shouldn't.
No, but it's definitely weird. But that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break, and when we return, we'll talk a little bit more about what happened last night in the NBA draft. That's next on Sportstime.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
I think a lot about golf, and when I think golf, I think Miramichi. Did you know Miramichi Golf Course offers membership? It's a great way to play more golf for less out of pocket. Their memberships run for $300 a month plus tax, and that includes unlimited rounds and range balls, no extra card fees, priority tee time booking, and discounts in the pro shop. Oh, by the way, there's no initiation fee. Miramichi green fees, they'll allow you to choose the right rate at the right time on the right day for your needs. If morning tee times are more important, you can book up to 14 days ahead of time to reserve your spot. If rate is more important to you, there are discounted evening rates available that you can choose from. Miramichi is now open on Mondays, and you'll find the lowest rate is on Thursday. Sometimes you just need to escape the hustle and bustle of life. Miramichi Golf Course provides just the right place to solve that need. The name Miramichi means place of happy retreat. When you need a quiet, peaceful round of golf, please make your way to Miramichi.
Hey, it's Mark and Ronnie of Gossett Hyundai South on Mount Moriah with his brand spanking new dealership. What's up, dude?
Randy, not only do I have a great new dealership, we've got service available that is less wait time than anyone in town. 16 service bays and immediate appointments available. Plus, a 2025 Hyundai Tucson SE, $288.75 per month and 3.99% available for 72 months. 2025 Hyundai Santa Fe SEL,
install. Liners are starting at $2.99. You're going to need some pool accessories, so they're all up to 20% off. Not quite ready for a pool? That's fine. Get a 5 or 6 person hot tub starting at under $7,000. You can also go for a swim spa or perhaps a cold plunge tub. Those are now $2,000 off. Get patio furniture up to 50% off on select sets. Buy your pool now. Get on that install list. Mention this commercial, and your install is free. It's underlined in the in-bold print, so you know it's big. It's pool time at Family Leisure. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
So you need to sell your house? I have the solution. 904-611-01. That's 904-611-01. Call my buddy Bill and I buy houses, any house, any area, as is. It's literally as simple as that. Just pick up your phone, call 904-611-01. That's 904-611-01. Call my buddy Bill and I buy houses, guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your house fast, call Bill 904-611-01. Bill and I buy houses.
This traffic report brought to you by Triangle Meat Company, feeding Memphis since 1967. Open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 4790 Summer Avenue. Trust Triangle Meat Company.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Still moving through our city right now for the most part on the I-40 bridge here over into West Memphis. Got a little bit busy earlier as it tries to crank up at times through Midtown. Just certain sections. I-40 over here at Chelsea as you head south of Memphis. That's still moving right now. Lots of radar saturated earlier in that southern portion of Tate County and DeSoto County as you travel down 55. Weimer's Jewelry, your diamond engagement ring headquarters this bridal season. Stop by and see David and his family at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now, back to Sports Time. Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus Cars. Here are your hosts, Let's Talk Sports with Brian Davis.
Well, the first round of the NBA draft is complete. We'll have the second round later tonight, but overall, I thought a fun night of the draft up in Brooklyn. We talked about it earlier this week. I think it was Monday with David Cobb of, the difference between last year and this year with so many international prospects in last year's draft. This year, it was mostly college guys. It was guys that if you watch college basketball, you know a lot of these names. You're familiar with a lot of these guys. I thought that made it a little more enjoyable last night, having a little bit of that familiarity with most of these guys that were taken.
That is right on, and I read a big story today that NIL has killed the second round. Mm-hmm. Right when ESPN and the NBA are trying to make a big deal out of it, it's just not a lot of heft. It's not that deep into the second round, which is good for college basketball. And I don't know how over the last few days online, on Twitter, I know it's not real world, but it's a big which one of the two do you prefer? Let me be clear. Even with my comments from 3 o'clock on and my comments about the Grizzlies when I think criticism is necessary, I'm still so glad we have them. I want them to do well.
Absolutely.
And just for me, as for one person, and I don't want it to be either or. I like both. They are radically different. But I far and away prefer going to and watching on TV, except for the NCAA tournament, an NBA game over a college game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, definitely. And I think, I saw a couple of comments. I think Jay Billis might have had a comment about
he started it, and he fell in on it, and he's right. You watch the game, but it's a little bit like with the college baseball. We see the best in the world doing it in the NBA. Yeah. That 15-foot open jumper, it's going down about every time.
No doubt about it.
In college, it's not always. I far and away prefer going to NBA, but I still like going to college basketball when you get around to the tournament. I think it's better than the NCAA postseason.
Yeah, no.
Or the NBA postseason.
Sure. No, the way March Madness is set up is just, incredible. I mean, it tops a lot of things in the sports world. But no, I mean, when I saw those Jay Billis quotes, I'll be honest, I shouldn't have been, because you're right, Twitter is a weird place, and social media in and of itself is a very weird place. But I was surprised with the reactions I was seeing from it. With basically Jay Billis, all he was saying was, the NBA is just a better product. Like, they are the best players
it is,
ever.
in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, and was still kind of saying, I love college basketball.
Flag the tape. Me and Jay Billis on this.
I mean, yesterday you defended Hugh Freeze and John Calipari.
In the same hour.
In the same hour. Today, also in the same hour that you did both those in yesterday, you are siding with Jay Billis. I mean, the 3 o'clock hour.
Might be the Heat. Might be the Heat.
Might be. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it
might be 94 degrees.
Well, yeah, it might be June as well.
Turn on the TV and you think we lived at the base of Death Valley.
Well, that's true. That's true.
With the real field temperature.
Oh yeah, but it's always over 100 and feel like
just
super hot.
Look, I lived summer of 1980 when live on TV, Dave Brown went out in front of Channel 5 at 1960 Union and fried an egg on the sidewalk.
Hilarious. I love that.
In 108-degree heat.
That's so funny. That's a great just.
And then went in and said, Lance, I think he's got a change.
The versatility is really incredible.
It really was.
It's unbelievable.
Most trusted man in town.
Yeah, honestly. To be able to do all of that is really
my guy Trey Johnson going 6 to Washington.
Yeah.
Green light his own, shoot as much as you want with the Wizards.
Yeah, no, I really like that fit for him going to Washington. I like this young core that Washington's putting together. They're super young. It's going to be a couple of years before they really start putting it together. But they've got some really good players. I think Bilal Coulibaly is going to be a really good player in the NBA. And I think you add a shooter like Trey Johnson, to a team that has a couple of shooters. But, I think that's a great fit for him. I was really, I had heard a lot of things of that Ace Bailey wanted to go to Washington. I did not want Ace Bailey going to Washington. I really like that fit for Trey Johnson.
And then right behind Trey Johnson was Jeremiah Fears from Oklahoma, and I loved his reaction and all that hard work that had been put in by those guys. One of my favorite players, and it's hard with big men to really ever know how good they really will turn out, but he was traded to Phoenix. The Duke big man, help me with the pronunciation.
Malawach. Kaman Malawach.
Love how hard he plays, and to see him and to hear, and I knew about that story and what the NBA's done in spreading the good word. Absolutely. And what he did last year at the Olympics. But I loved his reaction, but I loved how hard he played at Duke. And now, Bryant, since we have established you as a Dookie.
Yeah, that's right.
I will tell you, there was some of me really enjoying, it was Duke's night, wasn't it, in the draft?
Man, it really was, especially at the top. I mean, 3 guys, Kaman Malawach, Con Knipple, and Cooper Flagg all going in the top 10. I mean, it was a Duke night for sure.
John Shira there, Billis on TV.
Yeah.
It was a Duke night.
Sure was.
Made me love even more that national semifinal choke they pulled.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're right about
and
that.
It was epic.
It was. It really was.
It was Arkansas against LSU in baseball.
Oh yeah, no, it was crazy. I mean, thinking back to that game, and just now looking at all the talent. I mean, we knew all the talent they had, but seeing these guys go top 10 and just the way that they were able to let that game get away from them, and really that's a lot of credit to Houston and Kelvin Sampson, the way that he coaches his team and how tough they play. I mean, they stole it from Duke in that semifinal game.
What did you think going into the draft about Nick Clifford, of course, who we saw against the Tigers in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, Nick Clifford, an interesting guy. Me and Elisha Seegers, the morning producer, we were talking about that a little bit this morning. He's a guy that really didn't know much about until probably about January of last year, and then kind of started seeing him and watching him a little bit. I think he's a good player. I really don't know how he fits in the NBA, but 6'5", 202, a good size for a shooting guard. But we saw him in the build-up against Memphis. We saw him against Memphis, a very talented player. I don't know what that fit is at the next level in the NBA.
I don't remember what he did against the Tigers.
You know what, Brett? I remember talking about him a lot before. I don't necessarily remember exactly what he did.
Now, just trying to remember back to that game, I didn't think he was the difference in it, was
he actually did not have a very good game at all. 14 points, 3 for 13 from the field, had 8 rebounds, 6 assists in that game.
I mean, they kind of had the lucky 3-point day, didn't they?
That's right. Yeah, no, they were hitting everything from 3. He was 0 for 6 from 3 in that game. Next game against Maryland had a much better game, 21 points, shot about 41% from the field. But, you look at what he did last year, was a really prolific scorer for Nick Clifford. So, I don't know. My biggest question, him going to the Kings now is, what are the Kings going to be? Like, they are going out there saying, we're open, we'll trade, anybody on our roster is available. Are they trying to get back into a rebuild? Are they, retooling? What are they doing? And I think that will really have a big factor on what Nick Clifford can become. Because if he's a guy that you just need him to be a role player, you can take time to develop him, then I think he could be a good player in the NBA. But if it's you need him to start producing off the bench immediately, that might not be great for him.
Starting with the NFL draft and continuing with the NBA draft, nobody watches the baseball draft or the hockey draft.
Nah.
We got to tighten it.
I got my.
I know you
Kraken.
do.
My Kraken.
Got number 1 pick tonight.
We're ready for it. No, number 6 tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
I think number 6. Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
I haven't been keeping up with the NHL. Like you just said, nobody watches the NHL draft. So.
We got to tighten these draft nights up.
Ooh,
Here's what else we
boy.
got to tighten up. We got to limit the green room.
Yeah.
We got to limit people having to go through with the camera literally 6 inches from his face.
Yeah.
What they were doing to Danny Wolf.
Yeah, well, Danny Wolf was a big one. Lee McNeely, another guy that was there that went super late in the draft. But, it gets very uncomfortable. And you could see it on Danny Wolf's face. I mean, he was very uncomfortable sitting there.
It was agonizing.
It was brutal.
There's no need to do that to people.
Definitely not. And so, I think, I've really never understood why we're extending this. I mean, look, Danny Wolf's a good player. He's certainly, had a good draft process. But I don't know how many mock drafts had him in the top 20, in the top 15. I don't know why we're inviting late first-round guys that could have that potential of slipping and even slipping the next day. If you're going to invite guys, invite the top 10 players on the board, the top 12 players on the board. If they slip, they're not going to slip to the second round or to the 20s. They might slip to like 15, and then that's completely fine.
Rough.
Yeah. I was at Buffalo Wild Wings last night. Coverage was up, so I could hear what was going on. I didn't pay much attention to it, but I did see a lot of the reaction online that it was a very rough broadcast from ESPN.
Yeah, and the reaction was not friendly.
No, it was not. It sounded like it was not a great night for ESPN and their draft coverage. And we talked about it yesterday. I mean, maybe
I thought Kendrick Perkins was the only thing worth watching.
Yeah, well, I love Perk, but I
thought he was great.
Yeah,
the rest of it was very very middling.
We talked about it yesterday of, maybe switching it up a little bit, maybe bringing in some of those TNT guys. But even, you have guys that work at ESPN that their entire job is to focus on the draft and focus on that sort of thing and prospects. And I don't know why we're not using those guys a little bit more in our coverage that can really break down these guys' games and break down these fits for these teams. Yeah, I'm with you. I think they got to do something to the broadcast. I'll be completely honest, Brett. I'll be watching tonight's second round a little bit. I'm nervous for what tonight's going to look like after last night.
Look, and everybody at every level can get a name wrong, but to announce that Colin Cowherd's been drafted.
Did Colin Cowherd reference that? Like, did he say anything about that at the start of his show today? Because I would have had a lot of fun with it if that was
that
me.
lasts forever, doesn't it?
Oh man, forever. Yeah, that will be one of those things where every year on draft day, that clip will be put out on social media, and we'll all watch it again. But I guess that's the unfortunate thing that happened last night. But I thought a really fun first round of the draft. Still some fun players that could be taken in the second round. Older guys that obviously played 4 years in college, and we'll see what the Grizzlies do.
You think you could post Cowherd up?
Oh yeah, I could. I'll say it right now.
On his head?
I could. I don't know about that. I will say right now, not with a ton of confidence, but with relative confidence, I could beat Colin Cowherd one-on-one.
I'd play him today in horse.
Oh yeah.
I don't have to move laterally against anybody or anything.
Yeah, maybe not. But no, I think I got it.
Only forward. I really don't want to move backwards. Yeah. Only forward.
Just couple dribbles, throw up a shot, take an
step
age,
into the shot.
Exactly. That's all. That's all.
Catch
you
and shoot.
That's right. But and that will be one that will be tied with Cedric Cowherd for a while. That he was announced on draft day as Colin Cowherd instead of Cedric Cowherd.
Hope he performs over that.
I hope he does. I hope he does as well. I don't know Colin Cowherd's background in basketball, but I'd say it's not
really poor
not
handle
great.
is what I've been told.
Okay, all right. So I'll put that on my scouting report for when my one-on-one with him comes up. But let's get to another break, and when we return, we'll talk a little bit more about the Grizzlies, what they did last night with their pick, with that trade, and what the rest of this offseason looks like for them. We'll do that next on Sportstime.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56.
This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark's Benstorff Realtors. I'm often called Shell Done because I sell homes and work with buyers and I get the job done. There are 7 keys to successfully selling your home quickly at a great price. First, call me. I do my research and advise you on preparation, presentation, and proper pricing that gets you the activity to get the best price. Follow my advice and it can happen. I did mention 7 keys to a successful sale, didn't I? Well, if you use the first key, calling or emailing me, you really don't need the next 6 keys. Remember, that's Sheldon Rosengarten at 483-0546 or MemphisRelocate.com. If you don't need me now, write it down for later or for a friend. That's Sheldon at 483-0546 at MemphisRelocate.com. Do it now, and who knows, you may hear your home advertised here. Remember, as bad a golfer as I am, when selling homes, Shell Done gets it done.
Hey everybody, it's summer, so come and get your new and affordable 2026 All-Star Chevy Equinox right here in Olive Branch. Financing is down to 6.6% for 72 months. All new 2025 Silverados with $6,500 cash back and financing down to 2.9 for 36 months. It's here, so go big and get a new Silverado 2500 HD with financing as low as 3.9 for 60 months and not one payment for 90 days. And your good credit deserves it. If you're law enforcement, first responder, healthcare, military, education, recent grad, you get an extra $500 bonus. And all the certified and pre-owned cars you want, like this Corvette Stingray and more Tahoes and Silverados, then you'll find in one place, anywhere, right here in Olive Branch. If you have any vehicle you want to sell, bring it here to All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch and get the most money for it today. Vacation road trips and all your summer fun begins right here in Olive Branch with our friends at All-Star Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. AllStarAutoGroup.com.
Uncorked flavor, Corky's barbecue. I'm cooking it up, down home way. Hickory smoke flavor like the good old days.
Hey y'all, Jimmy Stovall here with Corky's Barbecue. With over 175,000 cars served in our drive-thru, 4,000 online pickup orders, and 1,500 party packs delivered to offices and events every year. Corky's is a trusted go-to barbecue for parties. Our party packs start at just $6.99 per person. You can choose 1, 2, or 3 meat combos, pick your favorite sides, and as you know, Corky's always gives you plenty of food, so you never worry about running out. Whether it's pickup or delivery, we got you covered. Corky's makes it easy to impress your guests. Visit Corky'sBBQ.com to order for your next day.
Uncorked flavor, Corky's barbecue.
It's time to turn corners and turn heads in your new Gossett Kia from Gossett Kia 1900 Covington Pike. Discover peace of mind in your new Kia with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. How about $5 a day in 2025 Kia K4 LXS, $150 a month. 2025 Kia K5 LXS, we Gossett $265 a month. 2025 Sportage $275 a month. And At 2025 Kia, Telluride has $359 a month. We got it covered for every family and every budget at Gossett Kia on the Pike. All $49.99 new signing, 24-month lease. Ask for Bobby J. He's waiting to put you in your new Kia today. Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, online, KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
$20,000 miles per year. K4 SE137 210, MSRP 24,340, K5 S536 6209, MSRP 29,170, Sportage SG 271 1755, MSRP 34,115, Telluride SG 66 2001, MSRP 41,060. Must finance through KFA, excludes tax on license with approved credit dealer stock only. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 07225.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises. Just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises. Now, back to Sports Time. This hour is brought to you by Lexus Cars. Here are your hosts, Star Sports Movie and Brian Davis.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you live and local inside our Family Leisure Studios. We've talked a lot about the first round of the draft. We know what the Grizzlies did last night. Traded up from 16 to 11 to draft Cedric Coward out of Washington State. In that trade, they traded the number 16 last night, 2028 first rounder from Orlando, and 2 second-round picks. They still have 2 picks tonight in the second round at number 48 and number 56. We'll see if they make those picks, if they move those, what they do in the second round tonight. But we know a lot of decisions still left, a lot of things to do still left for the Grizzlies, not only tonight, but just as an offseason as a whole.
People really get stirred up over those second-round picks, don't they?
They sure do. Yeah, second rounds are, for whatever reason, they're big.
And you hit the hit rate on that is what?
Very low. Very low.
And if you do, it's an unbelievable story.
No, I mean, it's great. You know, we all know the Jokic getting drafted during the Taco Bell commercial in the second round. But, you know, that doesn't happen very often. It does not happen every year.
Marc Gasol.
Sure, yeah. I mean, there's stories out there, plenty of stories out there of second-round picks. But it is not one of those where, you know, all 30 picks in the second round or, you know, all 29 picks in the second round are going to, you know, turn into these all-stars and
everybody
and all
looking
NBA
for that diamond
guys.
in the rough.
Oh, yeah. You know, everyone's looking for it, and very rarely do you hit on it.
Did you see the quote from Steve Spurrier, almost a blast back to the 90s when the whole ball coach, he was asked about Arch Manning, and he answered, he goes, I don't know why everybody is just so proclaiming that Texas, that they're the team to beat, and that he is, you know, just hand him the Heisman Trophy. And this is a guy that coached a Heisman Trophy winner in Danny Werfel, and he won a Heisman Trophy as a player. So I think Steve Spurrier can speak, and he doesn't need permission from anybody to speak. He's going to speak when he gets ready
exactly
to.
Right.
And he went on to say, last year he with a couple of opportunities, he couldn't play in front of a guy that just went 7th in the NFL draft.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean,
it is a good point. And Brian, we talked about it during that year last year, especially in the Georgia game. That sideline shot of Ewers and Arch sitting by each other, and it looked like they were. I don't know what they were saying, but it looked like they were saying, "You go in, no, you go in, no, you go in. I'm not going in, you go in."
Oh yeah.
The door was open that night for him. Sarkisian played him. The door was wide open for him to, coming out of that injury, take that job. And he couldn't do it over, as Steve Spurrier said correctly, a guy that went in the 7th round of the NFL draft.
Yeah, I mean, nobody was beating down the door for Quinn Ewers in the NFL very clearly. And, I mean, I think a lot of people, even after the draft, were saying, it was probably would have been a better decision for Quinn Ewers to go back to college instead of making that decision to go to the NFL. So, yeah, I mean, he had plenty of opportunities to take that, and now we're all kind of the big summer story is, Texas is going to be amazing next year, and he's going to win, or at least be in the running for the Heisman. So I like that quote. I mean, I think maybe getting a little ahead of ourselves, but that's part of Texas is back. Texas is always back.
And I do think Texas is back.
Sure, but that program, that brand is always gonna it's gonna fluff up no matter how good they are.
And
it's
you
gonna
put
be
that
fluffed
brand
up.
with the Manning brand.
Exactly. It's gonna be massive.
I really do. I for a football consumer, I hope I can watch him for the next 15 years, 2 or 3 more in college and 10 or 12 in the NFL, because it made Sunday afternoons watching his very famous uncles. I want him to make it for all of them. I think he will. But this anointing, I mean, Peyton didn't get this the summer before the year he lost the Heisman to Woodson.
That's right. Yeah, and I mean, you look now around the SEC. There are multiple teams out there, at least 2 that everyone is just running wild about their starting quarterback, and really, neither of them have been able to prove him much when they've been out there.
And one of my themes of the run up to college football SEC media days is I'm not asking who's returning. I know Nussmeier's returning. I know Pavia is returning. I know Sellers is returning. I know Taylor Green's returning. I know DJ Lagway mostly returning. Marcel Reed mostly returning. But who really got better?
Yeah.
I mean, those guys are back, but how much better are they? And I will tell you right now, in my SEC quarterbacks, I have Arch 4th.
Wow. Yeah.
Nussmeier 1, Pavia 2, Lenore Sellers 3.
Yeah. No, I like that. I like that top 4.
I mean, didn't Taylor Green really show you more last year than Arch did?
Yeah, Taylor Green was really good last year.
Running for his life, too.
He sure was. He sure was. And he was really good. So, I mean, but that's, part of that is June, part of that is Texas, part of that is
the run-up.
I mean,
it is,
there's a lot of factors into
it. But
it.
way to go, Steve Spurrier, asking a question I think that should be asked.
I completely agree. And
now, on opening morning, the 11 Central game, Texas Longhorns go to Ohio State, and Arch goes 22 of 35 for 329 and 3 touchdown passes. Rushes for 1 or 2 and 80 yards. He is 19 miles in first place for the Heisman.
That's right. Yeah, easily. But,
off of 1 game.
Oh, yeah. No doubt about it. And we could see that, but we'll have to wait and see. So, yeah, I love that quote from Steve Spurrier. But we need to wrap up this first hour and get to a break. And when we return, we're going to talk more about the NBA. Keith Smith from Spot Track and the Front Office Show. He joins us next.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director of Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Sports and Mexican food. You can get the best of both at Los Cabos Mexican Bar and Grill on Summer near Graham. Watch all the big games and all the activities on all the walls at Los Cabos. And enjoy premium tequila shots anytime for just $5.50. Celebrate every day with reservations from 10 to 3 and happy hour from 3 to 8. Lunch is just $6.75 to $10.99. And margaritas start at $4.99. Experience real Mexican cuisine along with great sports at Los Cabos on Summer near Graham. Getting engaged is one of life's most spectacular occasions. And when you find your ring at Sissy's Log Cabin, the promise of a lifetime begins with our promise to always provide unmatched quality, superior service, and brilliant natural diamonds. Find your dream engagement ring, wedding bands, and more when you shop Sissy'sLogCabin.com or stop by any of our 7 locations. Begin the rest of your lives brilliantly. Only at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
I've got him on the line, Marty McNeil in Gossip Volkswagen Germantown, and he's ready to put you in a new Volkswagen today.
That's right, Randy. Guess what I've got available now? 2025 Jettas and 2025 Toyotas, 4.9% for 60 months. I've also got 25 Atlas and Atlas Cross Sports, 3.9% for 60 months.
What else you got over there, Marty McNeil?
On top of that, get 1,500 loyalty rebate on all 2025 GTIs, Jettas, Taos, Tiguans, Atlas, and Atlas Cross Sports.
And you were telling me earlier you got $5,000 off 2024 Atlas Cross Sport CLR lines, but only 2 left, so you got hurt.
So come see me today, Marty McNeil at Gossett Volkswagen Germantown, 7420 Winchester Road, or shop online at GossettVWG.com. And remember, your future is what you make of it.
Take your basketball skills to the next level at Shoot 360 Memphis. Shoot 360 is a revolutionary basketball training facility that provides cutting-edge technology with gamification and provides instant objective feedback and hands-on one-on-one expert coaching. And now, introducing Shoot 360 for you, a newly renovated 50,000 square foot facility with 2 NBA regulation-sized courts, 3 high school-sized courts, and 4 shooting bays with Shoot 360 technology. Memberships are now on a monthly basis. And yes, you can become a member in both locations. Whether you're an aspiring young talent, NBA player, or looking for a unique workout, all skill levels are welcome at Shoot 360 Memphis to learn proper shooting and passing techniques, improve fundamentals, and gain a competitive edge while having fun. Shoot 360 Memphis now in Cordova and Collierville. Call them today at 901-779-3176. That's 901-779-3176. The future of basketball training is here. Shoot 360 Memphis. Listen each and every Sunday morning at 11 to join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa CPC Church, down Memphis.
This traffic report is brought to you by Millington Weight Loss. For more information, call 901-436-0272.
Good afternoon. Trying to get a little bit busier over here in the last 15, 20 minutes on I-40 East at Warford, all the way over to White Station. Trying to get south of Memphis. Still moving right now on 55 down past State Line Road. It won't be long before it builds, trying to get down into DeSoto County. Dandelions, Crabgrass, Lawn Solutions in Memphis says give them a call right now at 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studios, we are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Time to talk NBA with Keith Smith from Spot Rack and the Front Office Show, and on Twitter X at Keith Smith NBA. Here's Keith Smith talking basketball with Bryant and Brett.
Keith Smith joins us now from Spot Track and the Front Office Show, where he covers the NBA. Joins us every Thursday to talk the NBA. Keith, thanks so much for joining us. I know we want to talk a lot about the draft, especially what the Grizzlies did last night. But before we get to any of that, I want to put a wrap on the season. The Thunder win the NBA Finals, beating the Pacers. What do you make of their performance throughout the postseason to win the NBA Finals, but also on the other side, the big injury to Tyrese Halliburton for the Pacers?
Yeah, I'll start at the backside there. It's a bummer with Tyrese Halliburton. There's no other way to put it. It sucks, right? Like, it just is awful. I've said everyone has had that moment, if you like basketball, where you grab the ball, whether you're in your driveway, you're at the playground, you're in the gym, and you're in the NBA Finals, and you're making shots in Game 7 to win a championship. And he was living it out. He was playing so well, and to see him go down is just a killer. All that said, I can't do any of the people who are like, well, we got to put an asterisk on the Thunder title. I mean, they're deserving champions. They were the best team in the league from day one through Game 7 of the NBA Finals. They were really, really good all year long, took on all comers, handled most of them with relative ease. And the scary thing for everybody else, they're not going anywhere anytime soon.
No, they're not. The only series they swept, though, was the series against the Memphis Grizzlies. They had a little more pushback competition than I thought they would have after exiting the the Grizzlies series. Did that surprise you that it got extended to Game 7 by Indiana?
A little bit. I picked Thunder in 6, so not like crazy surprise there. Like clearly thought Indiana was pretty good, and I thought Indiana countered the Thunder's strength in real ways that were going to help them hang in the series. So yeah, that's more kind of where I'm at with that. But yeah, I a little bit surprised, but I mean the Thunder are a really good team, and the other thing I'll say too is, I said this with Boston last year when they faced a bunch of injured teams. You don't apologize when you win a championship. You take it, you celebrate it, you get the rings, you hang the banner, and then you move on and try to chase down the next one.
For sure, you sure don't. You enjoy it, and look what a year difference made for Boston. I don't know where we're going to be in a year, but what's the biggest thing you think Sam Presti and Oklahoma City, that not just for next year, but for going forward with this core, what do they have to guard against? What gets them if they let it get them?
Yeah, the thing everybody's going to go to is they think it's going to be the finances. Are they going to be able to keep this team together financially? They're going to have to move on from some guys and do a little bit of cycling around Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Williams, and Chet Holmgren, but that's going to start next year. That they're fine for next year to be the year after that and beyond when max contracts start kicking in for those guys and the supermax for SGA. But they've got all these extra draft picks that they're going to be able to, as they move on from guys like Alex Caruso and Lou Dort and Isaiah Joe, maybe Isaiah Hartenstein and Aaron Wiggins, they're going to be able to replace those guys in ways that other teams have not been set up for. Like you saw Boston, they had to start the process of kind of resetting the roster by shedding a lot of money this week, because that's where they needed to do, because they don't have all those draft picks to just bring in behind to start the replacement process. What'll get them, if anything, is if this is a super tight-knit team that's having a lot of fun together, but does winning a lot get boring for them? Does winning by a lot get boring for them? And the guys start thinking about, what would it look like if I had my own team? Could I be the MVP like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander? Could I be an All-NBA guy? It's like Pat Riley said, the disease of more. If it comes and gets you, it tends to get you pretty hard. I don't think it'll happen, but we'll only time will tell.
Mm-hmm. Last night in the NBA draft, the Grizzlies went out there, traded up from number 16 to 11th, and drafted Cedric Coward out of Washington State. What did you make of the pick for the Memphis Grizzlies?
Yeah, so it's not that I dislike Cedric Coward. I just think it was a little higher than I'm comfortable with seeing him go. Played 6 games last year at Washington State, 6 pretty good games, but it's still only 6 games. Mm-hmm. Prior to that, lower level at Eastern Washington. Prior to that, I think he was at a Division III school. Sure. So we're talking limited, high-end, basketball experience for him. But if they think he's our guy and he fits exactly what we need, then you make the move to go up and get him. He was going to go in the first round. He was a extremely high riser throughout the draft process. He started as kind of a late second round consideration guy and then moved into early second. And by this week, it was going to be, right in the middle of the first round is probably around where he went. So a little higher than I was thinking he was going to go. But I think the Grizzlies got a pretty good player. And last time they drafted a guy who was a little bit more of an unknown from Washington State, it worked out pretty good so far.
That's right.
Yeah, it sure did last year. That's a great point, Keith. Is this the kind of pick that, if it works, it hangs at the basketball loo? Zach Kleiman can always point to, to Cedric Coward. But if it doesn't work, can that cost you your job?
Yeah, when you make a big swing on a guy, it definitely gets to a place where you just take on a lot of risk, I guess is the easiest way to put it. Not that they were – the good news is for the Grizzlies, they didn't pass up on anybody who people were pounding on the table and saying they must pick this player. It's like they passed up on Cooper Flagg or Dylan Harper or anyone like that. So that part is, you got to take a little bit of caution with there, because I think they'll be okay. But yeah, when you take a big swing, if you miss, that is the kind of thing that ultimately ends up costing people jobs because it becomes very hard to come back from.
What's the player that was drafted, right behind him that you think could burn them? That Coward's just okay, and this player taken 14 or 16 right behind him, hey, they could have had him. Who's that guy that could potentially burn the Grizzlies?
It's a good question. It's probably maybe someone like Carter Bryant is somebody who could have gone in that spot there. I think he's going to be really good. I think he's just going to be a terrific defender right away. I think he's actually a better offensive player than he had a chance to show. And what was kind of a weird Arizona team, they had older guards that dominated the ball a lot. So that's the one guy that, like, when they came up, before we knew about the trade and obviously before getting Coward, I thought, all right, they're probably Carter Bryant might be the pick here because a couple other guys that had higher just aren't great fits for the Grizzlies, like Kasparas Yakushonis went down at 20, Liam McNeely went at 29. I didn't think they made a lot of sense for Memphis, but Carter Bryant did, and if he turns out to be awesome, then, there's a little bit of a question mark there. But as long as Coward is, what the Grizzlies think, what you're looking for at the 11th pick is somebody who can come in and be a starter for you. They don't have to be an all-star. They don't have to be an all-NBA level guy. If they are awesome, but as long as he can be a regular starter, you did pretty well.
Well, we know Carter Bryant will go on and be a star, and we know why, don't we? He's in San Antonio.
Yeah, it kind of feels that way. He felt very Spursy throughout the process, too. It felt like, all right, this is where he'll go. And then when he was on the board at 14, it was like a no-brainer that, all right, there's the pick for the Spurs. It just, feels like, this is a guy who was made to be a Spur.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you're definitely right about that. I when I saw him go off the board to San Antonio, I was a little worried about the Grizzlies having to face him down the road a ton throughout the season. At the top of the draft, there were a lot of rumors kind of leading into the first round that we could see a lot of trades, we could see some movement at the top of this draft. We didn't see any of that. Top 10 picks, none of them were traded on draft day. I know number 10 obviously was traded a part of the Kevin Durant trade, but there were some surprises in that top 10. The first one, Ace Bailey, who was trying throughout the entire draft process to kind of dictate where he landed. He goes number 5 to Utah. What do you make of that pick and kind of this whole draft process for Ace Bailey?
Yeah, as far as the pick goes, this is a very, let's call it an Ainge family pick where Danny Ainge and Austin Ainge, they don't care whatever games he played. Mm-hmm. If they want him, they're taking him. And, figure it out. If you don't want to be here, well, then we'll have a problem. But until then, we're absolutely fine. Let's move forward. So I think that's going to be really, kind of interesting to see how that plays out. I mean, he clearly, I think from the reporting, was trying to get to either maybe Washington or Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. It sounds like is where he wanted to be, and that's why he kept denying teams that he wasn't going to come in and work out and all this stuff. And a lot of times, these guys, he's not the first one to try to engineer a destination. Just did it in an extremely extreme way. That's real good language work by me there. But, it was a situation where it's like, wow, you really shut everybody down. But now he is going to the Jazz. I think he's come to terms with that, at least at some level, seemed to last night. And they get a really good player. I think this kid, things got sideways because of the weird draft process where people started acting like he's a terrible kid and, going to be all kinds of trouble and all that. He's not. He's a good kid. He, just got bad advice through the draft process, and he's not the first player that's happened to, and it was certainly not the last.
Yeah, no kidding. Speaking of the Jazz, they had a pick later in the draft, and they went out and got Walter Clayton Jr. What did you make of that fit for Utah? Obviously, just came off the winning the championship for Florida. What do you make of that fit for Utah?
Yeah, the fit is a little weird because they just picked Isaiah Collier last year, Keontae George a couple years ago. It's just a little odd that now we're going back to the well, but I do think this kind of tells anybody who's wondering, this is Austin Ainge's team to run. Mm-hmm. His dad was a big part of picking the other guys. If he doesn't think those guys are good enough and he thinks Walter Clayton can be better, well, then he didn't shy away. He just went and got the guy he wanted. Walter Clayton Jr. is really tough. he is, the stereotypical comment that gets applied here is he's a winner, but it fits. He does win. He's a great, big shot maker. He, will knock down big shots. He's really tough. He's hyper competitive, and he does all the things you want to see for a team to win. The questions are, he's a little small. He's not super athletic. Is he going to be able to get his shot off consistently in the NBA? We'll see, and then, let's see how that, large amount of guards there with the Jazz works out, because it's not just Collier and George. They also have Jordan Clarkson and Colin Sexton. That Utah roster is very much a work in progress.
Where did the Angels get so cold-blooded?
Yeah, I mean, Danny was that way as a player, right?
Sure was.
We saw him all the time. He would, kind of always did whatever his deal was. He was going to, really kind of be, he was going to do things his way. And if that turns some people off, it turns some people off. But yeah, the other thing I'll say too with them taking Ace Bailey, this is both Danny and Austin Ainge. They like guys who came in as very high-profile prospects. If they had a kind of long pedigree of like, hey, this is it. Like if you look back, Marcus Smart was one of those players who came in. A lot of people were talking about him as potentially the number 1 overall pick. And then he ended up dropping to 6, and they were all over picking him. One of the more famous examples was Avery Bradley, was an extremely highly ranked recruit, and the Celtics ended up getting him near the end of the first round. So they are not going to shy away if things got a little weird for a player in college, because I think Danny Ainge looks at it and says, yeah, all right, it happened, but weird stuff does happen in college situations. Can you play? Great, then we're going to take him. We'll figure it out from there in the NBA.
Did NIL kill the second round?
I don't know if it killed it, but it didn't help it at all. The somewhat of a good news, we'll see about this year, but moving forward, I think a lot of people are going to be like, hey, I know that guy, because it's going to be players who played for about 3 or 4 years in college, because a lot of guys are looking at it and saying, oh, I'm a borderline first-round pick. Let me just stay a year in college. I can improve my draft stock, and I'll make $3 to $5 million in NIL money, and that's where it'll go forward. So I don't think it killed it, but I do think, at least for this year's draft, there's going to be a lot of, who is this guy? And people may not necessarily know them, and as NBA fans who kind of tune in for, the better college teams and prospects. But it's definitely going to be a changing dynamic that we're all going to be watching here over the next several years.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people were talking going into the draft last night about what Brooklyn would do. They entered the night with a ton of first-round draft picks. A lot of people thought that they would move a few of those, maybe make some deals. They didn't. They went out and drafted 5 players in the first round last night. Yegor Dimon at number 8, Nolan Traore at 19, Drake Powell at 22, Ben Seraph at 26, and Danny Wolf at 27. What did you make of the night for the Brooklyn Nets?
Yeah, you guys have been talking to me for years now, so I try to be accountable when I'm wrong. So hand up. I said the thing I was most confident in the draft is Cooper Flagg going number 1. Mm-hmm. This thing I said, even more than Dylan Harper going to the Spurs, was that the Brooklyn Nets would not make 5 first-round picks for themselves.
It's insane.
Shocking that they did that. Yeah, it's really crazy. That said, you can kind of see why they did. And we'll see. There's still no guarantee that they keep all 5 of those guys. Mm-hmm. There are some suggesting Ben Seraph may be a draft and stash, but they don't have a lot of young talent on that Nets team. This was the first chance to start getting in young guys, because they really kicked off the rebuild, after the draft process last year. So now they're kind of, this was the first chance to get in there and start drafting some of these, young guys to bring in. I like Yegor Dimon. I thought there was a little higher than I thought he might go, but it wasn't completely out of the realm of where I thought he was going to land. I think there's a chance he comes in, if he shoots the way apparently he did in workouts after doing some really rebuilding of his shot, all of a sudden he's going to be pretty good. His coach in college, who coached in the NBA for years, said he's an NBA guy and he's going to be good. I think Danny Wolf was a really good value pick late in the first round. I kind of like Drake Powell. He was in a weird situation at North Carolina, another team that, again, had the ball in older players' hands that didn't seem to have a lot of interest in working with the younger guys. So, yeah, I think an odd situation to bring in 5 rookies, but let's see how it goes. And I'm not against it from the Nets side.
Zach Kleiman famously at the end of the year said the Grizzlies aren't close. He said, we are not close. Can last night and free agency get them closer, Keith?
I don't know if last night did. Asking a rookie to lift you that high that you picked at 11th, no matter how excited you are to have him, that's a big ask. But last night, and now let's see what they do next. All indications are that they're still looking to create some cap space to renegotiate Jaren Jackson Jr. That's more of a long-term play than it is an immediate play because, of course, they already have him, but you're trying to keep him under contract there long-term. I think they're using this offseason a little bit as with the Desmond Bane trade as let's reset a little bit here. We're going to try to move forward with John Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. and build things up, around those two guys. So that means doing a little bit of work to the rest of the roster, but they should have a signing exception. We'll see if they do go the cap space route. They'll have an extra $8 million exception that they can go out and sign a free agent that actually has pretty good spending power because teams are so few teams have cap space. So that's a big thing for them. And then I think as you kind of move forward from there, it becomes all right. Well, what else is next? I don't know that we're going to see another big trade. I think they probably already did that. But yeah, I mean it's still a solid team, solid roster, and now it's just about retooling it a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Last thing for you, Keith. Who is your favorite guy or favorite couple of guys that are still available in the second round?
Yeah, that's a good question. Near the guys who I had first round grades on that I think are, it was a little bit of a surprise. Rasheer Fleming from St. Joe's. He's a kind of a do everything power forward. Really good all around player. I thought he would go in the first round. I think now we'll see him be one of the top guys off the board in the second round. Cam Jones is a player I really like out of Marquette. I thought he did a lot with the ball in his hands this year. Noah Penda, a player coming over from France, is someone that people liked. And then a couple big men, Ryan Kalkbrenner and Maxime Reynaud, look like they're going to be potentially pretty good centers. And we've seen some of these teams get these centers in the second round, throw them out there, especially if they're older guys, which these guys are seniors coming in, and you can kind of put them out there and say, hey, just kind of be big, do the things you're good at. And I think those guys will play right away. So there's still a lot of talent on the board, even if to Brett's point, NIL, did do a bit of a number here on the second round, guys in the second round.
Yeah. We'll see what happens tonight. Keith, as always, thanks so much for joining us. We'll talk to you again next Thursday.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Keith.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you so much for being with us every week. Keith Smith with us from Spot Track in the front office show. He was on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. And at Sissy's Log Cabin, they can't wait to get back to FedEx Forum next year for all the Grizzlies and Tigers games. They're the official jeweler for the Memphis Grizzlies, and at FedEx Forum with the floor seat lounge, big supporters of Tigers athletics. And that great location at 4542 Poplar with Bill Jones and his team, where they are and where they are to stay, part of the fabric of the community. And will be with us at SEC Media Days. Will be with us for the FedEx St. Jude Championship. They will bring you all the leaderboard updates from the FedEx St. Jude Championship and in football season with us year round. They have the Mid-South's largest selection of one-of-a-kind jewelry, necklaces, earrings, wedding bands, rings, engagement rings, 9,000 square foot store in Laurelwood at Poplar and Perkins with expanded lines for Rolex, Cartier, diamonds, and much, much more. They offer a selection of diamonds and estate jewelry and fine gifts that's truly remarkable. Since 1970, with all the great locations across the Mid-South, official jeweler for the Grizzlies, and at FedEx Forum when we get back there in the floor seat lounge, and you can see in those display cases, if you're back there, all that beautiful jewelry. Unsurpassed value, exceptional service, expansive selection, and an extraordinary shopping experience because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Well, we need to get to another break. When we return, a lot of baseball everywhere. Last night, some really fun games. This afternoon, some really fun games. Let's get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk some Major League Baseball.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports
Hyundai Santa Fe SEL, $349.89 per month and 3.99 up to 60 months available. And a 2024 Hyundai Santa Cruz XRV all-wheel drive, $37,180. That's $5,000 off MSRP.
Plus America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So get to Gossett Hyundai South, 2660 Mount Moriah, or shop online anytime. HyundaiMountMoriah.com. Shop 4th of July savings at the Home Depot right now and get up to 40% off, plus up to an extra $600 off select appliances with free delivery like Samsung. From all-in-one washer dryers to smart refrigerators, upgrade to tech you can trust with Samsung appliances. The Home Depot has what you need to simplify your routine.
When you're hungry for good meat, trust the family that has been feeding Memphis since 1967. Tony Hogan and the Triangle Meat Company, formerly Children's Meat Market. Trust Triangle Meat for fresh beef, hamburger, and roast. Trust Triangle Meat for delicious pork ribs, chops, and butts. And trust Triangle Meat for tender chicken, grilled up. Eating lots of folks, Triangle Meat Company has all the meat you need. Shop Triangle Meat Company, 8 to 5, Monday through Saturday, 4790 Summer Avenue, 901-683-1192. Fresh or frozen, big or small, trust Triangle Meat Company.
Spring is in the air, and it's the perfect time to grill, chill, and save with Choates. Install a new generator, tankless water heater, or Carrier HVAC system, and you'll get your choice of a free green egg grill or 36 months no-interest financing. Stay powered during storms. Enjoy endless hot water and slash your cooling costs this summer with a high-efficiency Carrier system, and grill some slow smoke barbecue on us. But hurry, this special ends soon. And if you're dealing with plumbing or electrical problems, Choates is here for you too. Give us a try and take $60 off your repair. Leaky faucet, clogged drain, broken outlet, lights flickering? Call Choates and save $60 on your plumbing or electrical repair service. Call 347-8086 or visit ChoatesHVAC.com today. And remember, Choates, let our family serve your family.
This traffic brought to you by Raleigh Tire Auto Service, your local family-owned business for over 60 years.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Dodging some pretty good rain showers as you travel down I-40 out towards Forest City, out through that section of Arkansas. So be careful. There is some rain in our area as it increases through Midtown just in the last few minutes on 240 southbound at South Parkway. Weimer's Jewelry, your diamond engagement ring headquarters this bridal season. Stop by and see David now at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you live and local inside our Family Leisure studios. We got to talk some Major League Baseball. A lot of day games this afternoon around Major League Baseball. You look around and only one game starting after 2:45. So only one game that still has yet to start. I know some weather a factor at a couple of places. Mariners Twins, that game was supposed to get started earlier today around noon, and they're just about to get started in Minnesota. But a lot of games already final today, including the Cubs with a 3-0 win over the St. Louis Cardinals. So split that series with the Cubs, and you'll see them again here shortly at Wrigley. But first two games looked really good, and the next two games, including last night and tonight, no offensive performance from the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah, only 3 hits today for the Cardinals. The Cubs, they get one in the first, one in the fourth, and one in the eighth, and that was plenty with only 3 hits, really scattered for the Cubs today. And Cardinals win 8-2 and 8-7 in the first two, and then don't score a run in the last two.
Yeah.
And at the end of the game today, the Cubs pitching staff struck out the side in the ninth, and Wilson Contreras caught one in the ribs. In start inning, Cardinals had first and second, nobody out before the Cubs struck out the side to get out of the inning and win the game. And there was a little barking. I didn't think it was a message pitch or anything. And then at the end of the game, the Cub pitcher celebrated. He should. They won and came back and salvaged a split in the series. That's all they wanted going in, is to split and to be down 2-0 and to be able to get that. And then Contreras was barking at them and acting like he was wanting to fight and threw his helmet. And I thought just a really Bush League look for the Cardinals.
Really? Wow. See, I was thinking on the other side. The Cubs pitcher, he gets done. He immediately starts looking at Contreras and barking at him after the game. Celebrate all you want, but you don't need to go at another player like that. So
Contreras had barked at him after he got hit when he was strolling down to first.
But that's a couple batters ago. I mean, you're a big league pitcher. Move on and celebrate your win.
He moved on. He got his win.
He got his win.
He was the winner.
Right. That's exactly right.
I think the loser goes down into the clubhouse and pipes down.
Well, I would. I guess I view myself in Wilson Contreras' shoes. If someone was barking at me like that, it would be very hard for me to go back to the dugout. I think you're right though. I mean, you lost. You only had 3 hits as a team. I think you should be worried more about what's going on in your locker room after back-to-back games with 0 runs than what the relief pitcher for the Chicago Cubs is saying after he's walking off the mound with a win.
Now, next week, you're right. Next weekend, the 4th, 5th, and 6th at Wrigley Field. That sounds like a 4th of July weekend, doesn't it? Cardinals and Cubs getting it on the north side of Chicago. See if the Cardinals can take that series, get 2 out of 3 there. So then you go back to feeling pretty good. The Cardinals now go on the road for 3 in Cleveland, 3 in Pittsburgh, and then 3 to wrap up that road trip in Chicago. So see if the Cardinals can sustain it. A lot of this year, after good little runs, it's been a regression. It's been hard to kind of shake off a loss or two. We'll see how they do that starting in Cleveland. I think against a pretty good Cleveland team and a good manager tomorrow night.
Yeah, and that's a good point you made. And I think, if you're the Cardinals, you're feeling really good about those first 2 wins. You go out there. Second game was a little scary, but that first game was real easy, an 8-2 win. And so I think you were feeling really good. At the very least, you knew you were getting a split. And then, coming out there, I was kind of sitting there, okay, you feel like you'll probably lose one of these games. But then to see them go out back-to-back games with just a goose egg on the scoreboard, 8-0, 3-0. You don't feel as good about it as you probably would have if you could have gotten some offensive production. But now you got to go on the road for a couple series. It starts with Cleveland. We'll see what they can do this weekend. But you looked up. We were feeling pretty good about the Cardinals with what they did against Chicago, what they did against Cincinnati, and now with a split against Chicago. What can you do in these next couple series against Cleveland and Pittsburgh?
I just hate to see a team that lost for any reason barking, because you're going to play them again next weekend. Go show them with your play next weekend. And I think Ollie Marmol is too loud from the dugout a lot of times. He's always into it with the umps or with someone. I just don't like it. Last night was the 81st game for the Cardinals. Just about everybody's around the 80, 81, 82 mark. And that's the halfway point in the glacial year that we know baseball that is. Last night was 44-37. If you folded over exactly that in the second half and the Cardinals finished 88-74, what, if anything, do you think that gets you?
I mean, it might get you the last wild card spot.
It might, but even after Monday and Tuesday, nobody else in that playoff mix that they're losing. Everybody's kind of winning.
Like I don't feel good at all about that being a playoff.
Like Rob Fisher said a long time. He's right. Get to 90 and see how that sorts out.
Yeah. No, I would not feel good at all. I mean,
that's kind of the old. It's not anymore in basketball, but college basketball. The old 20 wins. And it hadn't been that in 40 years. But
certainly not. But no, I mean, just while you were laying that out, I mean, you're saying just flip this and go the exact same the last half of the year, and I was going, oh man, that doesn't get you anything. And so I mean, maybe you sneak in there, but you certainly don't feel good about it. I mean, you need to start putting together some wins and do a little bit better on the backside, or make that decision of, hey, we're gonna be a seller and we're gonna sell off these pieces and go in a different direction. But you got to make that decision if you haven't already. About now is when you need to make that decision.
Getting close, and we knew it with this 4-gamer, and we know it with next week, and then shortly after that, it's All-Star break, and the hardest decisions the team I think that you have to make is when you do that hard analysis, self-scout of tell me exactly what we have. Where does it really hurt? And I think with the Cardinals, what you have is just a kind of a middling 84, 85 win team that doesn't get you anything if you keep it intact. And if you deal everything, you probably end up maybe under 500, and late August, September crowds are horrific.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good point. I think this team is, just very okay right now in terms of this roster and what they have. I know they're a handful of games over 500, but I don't think this is a team with this roster that can really compete. And so, I mean, I think you need to start looking at that and seeing what you do, because right now third in the division. And
that's right, third. Not even second.
No, not even second. And I don't think you're going to get much closer to that. Maybe you finish second. I don't know. But, I mean, that decision has to be made, and I think probably the decision is to probably start selling some of these pieces if you're the Cardinals.
Cubs are going to have tough choices as well. Cubs will have tough choices to decide, do we want to add? Do we want to gamble, the future? The Cub fans, what they want. They're hungry. They're not as hungry as at one time, but they're hungry again.
Yeah, no, I think they're in a spot where I think you need to go out there and try to buy and try to build this team up. That's certainly what the fans are going to want, and that's going to be a big decision for them. Obviously, that's a decision a lot of teams are going to face. Detroit and obviously those teams that are always buying, like the Dodgers and the Yankees. But Chicago's got to make that decision. I think they're in a really good spot in the division right now, but can they make that run in the postseason? I guess you got to make that decision on if you really want to go out there and be a hard buyer at the trade deadline.
I think I know what it means, but I don't know that I can readily identify it while it is occurring. The built for the regular season mantra and it's always put on a team that has a pretty ugly early exit in playoffs, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I still don't know exactly how you identify it in the process, but a team that fits it, and they fit it almost every year. They're always competitive. They're always right around or in the playoffs. Nobody's scared of them in the postseason. Tampa Bay Rays.
And Tampa Bay.
They are the built for the regular season team.
They really are, and they have they've been playing really well. 7-3 in their last 10.
And they can't ever add at deadline.
No, certainly not. But I think this ballpark that they're playing in, this spring training ballpark, that's helping them a lot. The ball's flying out of that ballpark, and
it's cozier.
It is a lot cozier, and you're seeing. I was having this conversation with a buddy of mine about a week or so ago that you look at overs and you look at runs and different things when they're playing at home. They have used that as an advantage, but you're right. It just never seems like they're able to put things together and really make that big run. And just looking at this roster, I don't buy them making a run this year either. And, I think a big part of that, and we're getting some news about it today, is what happened with Wander Franco. And, he was supposed to be that can't-miss next big star that was going to put them over the edge and really make them
and then sign with the Yankees or Mets or Cubs or Dodgers.
Exactly, and go to bigger things. And we've learned this afternoon, Jeff Passan putting it out there, that Tampa Bay Rays shortstop Wander Franco found guilty of sexual abuse of a minor in the Dominican Republic for an illegal sexual relationship with a 14-year-old girl when he was 21. So, we knew he was not going to be back in Major League Baseball, but some news there on that case down in the DR. And I mean, that happening, I think derailed the Rays, where they're gonna remain competitive, but having that superstar out there, having that guy that you can really build around, he was just taken immediately from that team, and it just feels like they haven't been able to bounce back from that.
But they always have a pipeline of players that that we've never heard of that come through. Today, Pete Fairbanks with his 15th save. Shane Baz.
Oh, man.
with his
I
8th
like
win.
Shane Baz is a good pitcher. Good young pitcher. Hey, look, Brett, we're in a good spot right now with young pitchers. I mean, you look around Major League Baseball and some of these young guys that we've got on the mound.
I think we're in a good spot with the game.
We really are. I mean, but you look just this week, you got Paul Skeens versus Mizorowski up in Milwaukee. You have what Chase Burns did in his first Major League start against the Yankees. You look at some of these other young pitchers that are, starting to figure it out. Shane Baz, like you just mentioned. There are some really fun young pitchers across Major League Baseball, and it feels like they're all kind of starting to come up at this time and kind of start making their names known. So, I think we're in a really good spot with Major League Baseball right now and kind of that young pipeline that we're seeing.
But what spot are we going to be in after this year when there's nothing on ESPN? I mean, will they show a nightly highlight?
That's a great question, and we're about to find that out, and I think it's the unfortunate thing. I mean, you see that, they're moving away from ESPN, and, what's next? I saw the reporting done a couple weeks ago that Apple TV was in the running, and we're in a good spot to get that Sunday Night Baseball. I mean, that would just kill you, tremendously, because if we know one thing, it's that casual sports fans, casual baseball fans, they'll watch Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. They are not going to Apple TV or getting an Apple TV Plus subscription or to any streaming service like that just to watch one game a week. And I know Apple TV already has the Friday night package where they have a pair of games every Friday night. But I think that Sunday night
don't they do the Sunday morning or Sunday noonish?
Roku has the Sunday morning game, another streaming service.
I'm sorry,
for you,
I didn't have my Roku line up in front of me.
You were good. I think the difference, though, between Roku, if I'm not mistaken, and usually I am not able to catch that game on Sunday mornings, but usually that game is accessible through the MLB TV packages or whatever package you have, and the Apple TV are not. So those you have to have Apple TV Plus to access that. And I think, sending a standalone Sunday night game to a streaming only would kill Major League Baseball. And so I hope they don't do that. I hope it's something like NBC or whatever it might be out there that you can make a deal with. I hope it's not a streaming only.
I just fear baseball for regular season, by and large regular season, in the future will be playing in anonymity.
Yeah, no, it's already kind of moving in that direction. And
try going somewhere and getting a game on.
Oh no, it's impossible. And even teams that have big fan bases in this market. Rarely you'll walk into a spot and they have the Cardinals or the Braves or somebody on. It's difficult, and then to just get a national game, that's even 10 times harder.
I was at a place last week and they had on NBA TV.
Yeah.
Showing in a kind of a loop Luka highlights.
Yeah. That's kind of the NBA TV programming when no games are on. Yeah.
But we can't get it on like a real, and you can't.
No.
You ask a lot of like the wait staff. You might as well be speaking in Mandarin Chinese. Hey, can you pop up the baseball game?
It's very, very tough to get any television changed anywhere.
It really is. At All-Star Chevrolet, come get your new and affordable 26 All-Star Chevy Equinox right there in Olive Branch at All-Star from Drew DePriest and his great team. Financing down to 6.6% for 72 months. New 25 Silverados with $6,500 cash back and financing down to 2.9 for 36 months. Go big and get a new Silverado 2500 HD with financing as low as 3.9 for 60 months and not a single payment for 90 days. Your good credit deserves it, and you get it with the great team at All-Star. Happy 4th of July in advance from everybody there for that summer road trip and the holiday season. Started out at All-Star if you're in law enforcement, first responder, healthcare worker, recent grad, military, educator, instant extra $500 bonus back. All the certified and pre-owns you can imagine. More Tahoes and Silverados in one place, anywhere in our area. If you have any vehicle you want to sell, bring it to All-Star in Olive Branch and get the most cash back for it today, whether you bought it there or not. Start that road trip, start that vacation trip in Olive Branch at All-Star Chevrolet with our friends. Together, let's drive something from All-Star. For more information, go to allstarautogroup.com.
Well, let's get to another break, and when we return, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11, here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director of Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Air. We breathe it naturally. Simple, right? Not so fast. The air you breathe could be hazardous to your health. Don't guess. Be sure with a phone call to the Memphis Mold Inspector, the only licensed mold assessor in the Mid-South. Call the Memphis Mold Inspector to check the air quality inside your home or office. Call 901-292-7788 for clean air and peace of mind. 901-292-7788 or visit memphismoldinspector.com.
Making us part of your dining experiences. If you are a first-time guest or have dined with us countless times, I want to thank you for making us part of your lives. Whether you're celebrating with the crowd or planning a cozy date night on the town, Napa Cafe can provide you an extraordinary evening. We have 5 dining rooms, including our private wine cellar, our Jan's room for 2 guests, and the Eleanor room for parties up to 60. Sit back, relax, and celebrate. Leave the cooking to us. Come see me at Napa Cafe, 5101 Sanderlin Avenue. We're open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. We also offer curbside pickup from our full menu. For details on our stay-in, dine-out menu or reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. Come join us. We can't wait to serve you.
Congratulations to Napa Cafe, celebrating 27 years of great food and service for you. Napa Cafe.
Mid-South, if you're looking for a great deal, get to Gossett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat for the employee pricing plus sales event. 2025 Dodge Hornet GT. Buy it for $26,457 or $344.68 a month. That's over $5,000 off MSRP. 2025 Jeep Compass Latitude 4-wheel drive. Over $6,000 off MSRP at $23,541 or $297 a month. And 2025 Ram 1500 Tradesman Crew Cab 5'7" rear-wheel drive. Over $11,000 off MSRP at $36,869 or just $511.87 a month or 1.9 for 72's available. So drive past the rest and come to the best. Gossett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat on the Pike or online at GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
TSVA 46076, MSRP 31590, Compass ST 567703, MSRP 29765, Ram SN 728 346, MSRP 48260, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 895, excludes tax title licensee dealer for complete details, offer valid through end of the month with approved credit dealer stock owner.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Five-Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Sportstime on Sports 56 and 95 FM. Once again, our records are being Brian Davis.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
All right, Brett, I think we should switch things up today. How about you go first this afternoon?
You got it. My big number, well, it's not that big, but it's the number 3. It's the slot that VJ Edgecombe. He went 3 overall last night. That's Baylor's highest draft pick ever. Wow. Ekpe Udoh went 6th in 2010. In football, Baylor's had someone go higher than that. RG3.
Yeah,
he went number
absolutely.
2 overall. In football or basketball,
Wow.
they've never had a number 1 overall pick.
That's crazy. That's insane. I like VJ Edgecombe, and I think that's a good fit for him in Philadelphia. But that was cool to see. Obviously, kind of a weird year for Baylor, but he was pretty good all season. I remember us talking a lot about him when he was playing for the Bahamas the year before his freshman season at Baylor. It was going crazy for their team, so he was fun. I also saw the last pick in the draft out of Penn State. That was their first ever first-round draft pick in the NBA. So some cool things last night in the NBA draft. My big number today is something that a buddy of mine sent me 2 days ago when I was when we were kind of talking about who the Grizzlies should take, and I was saying that my pick
Send it to the Bryant text line?
Send it to the Bryant text line. So you had some text to the Brett text line yesterday. This is to the Bryant text line. So my big number today is 7'2". That is the wingspan, 7'2", the wingspan for Cedric Cowherd. And this list was making its rounds across NBA social media. Wings with a 7'2" wingspan taken in the first round.
So it could be 86, as in 86 inches.
It could be. My conversion is not great, so I'll go with 7'2". The list of 7'2" wings with 7'2" wingspan taken in the first round since 2016. That list includes Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, PJ Washington, Rui Hachimura, Scotty Barnes, Jalen Williams, J-Dub for anybody who wants the difference of the two, Tari Eason, Bilal Coulibaly, and Jarris Walker. And he fits that build. Cedric Cowherd fits that build. If he turns into one of those players, I mean, that would be a great pick.
I mean, any sport out there that the inches and feet that matters more. I mean, 94-foot floor,
right.
10-foot goal,
absolutely,
15-foot free throw line. I mean, we know all this. It matters,
it
and
does.
Size matters.
It absolutely does, and that was kind of the big thing that first got him on a lot of scouting boards is just that size and that length and what he can do with that, and so
just a lot of elbows.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at a lot of those guys that I just mentioned in that list. Those are guys that are good defenders in the NBA. And so with that length, you can do a lot on the defensive end. And so hopefully that's able to translate. That shot translates, obviously having that size and that length, to shoot over guys. I think those are some things that can maybe make this a really good pick for the Grizzlies. But obviously we'll have to see how it plays out.
At the Brett text line, I got this from a friend of ours. NBA draft streak ended last night. 17 straight drafts of a Calipari player in the first round. Arkansas could have 3 next year.
No, they absolutely could. They definitely could. And I didn't even really notice it during the draft, but then I started seeing that circulating after draft. I go, holy cow. That is first off, that's a really long time. And second off, there wasn't a Cal guy in this draft. So
hard to keep that going. Really remarkable phenomenal to keep it going as long as he did.
Yeah, I mean, it's an incredible stat. And so you knew it was going to end eventually. And this year being that year, I guess something we'll remember. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe not.
I was looking at a mock that had 3 Arkansas players in the first round for next year, and Boogie Flan at Florida.
Yeah, so I mean, no, next year could be.
Would Cal claim him?
Well, maybe, probably not. I don't know. I don't think things were great when it ended there. But no, I mean, we were talking about this being the Duke draft. I mean, next year very well could be the Arkansas draft with the guys that they have taken off the board. And I think that's the fun thing about next year's draft. That draft is at least right now, it looks pretty loaded. It looks like a lot of really fun names, a lot of really good players that we'll see in that draft. And very similar to this one, I think it's going to be a trend we see moving forward with college basketball and NIL, is it's going to be a lot of guys that are playing college basketball next year. I mean, we've talked about some of those guys that were taken in this first round. Yegor Demon, before NIL, he probably would have just stayed overseas and played before going to the draft. Yakachonis, who was drafted to Miami, that's another guy that probably would have just stayed overseas in Lithuania playing.
Money talks.
It sure does, and I think that's great for us, a viewing audience, basketball fans, to be able to see these guys in the United States before they get drafted to the NBA.
Here's a big number for Landon Schmidt today. Okay. 63 from Minwoo Lee, the first round of the Rocket Classic.
Pretty good.
Trying not to be too excited.
I almost took him, and for whatever reason, I didn't. So, I don't know. That really doesn't.
But not in the league.
Thursday.
Yeah, it is true. Really?
262s.
Who were they?
Kevin Roy.
Don't got anything.
And Aldrich Pogacar.
Also don't have anything. You could have stopped at the first name. I wouldn't have had anything. But good attempt on the last name, I guess.
I think poor execution.
Made an effort, though, a B for effort, maybe?
Yeah, well.
Maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, we were a lot easier grading yesterday.
That's right. Yeah, no, I don't know. A lot of drafts coming out, or grades coming out for the draft last night. That's the big thing after drafts is grades all over the place. Landon was telling me somebody at CBS Sports gave the Grizzlies a B for their draft last night of Cedric Coward.
And next summer will be 40 years. This is 39. Next summer, there'll probably be some story. It won't be a lot. Mm-hmm. Time moves on.
Yeah.
But they're on the what ifs.
Yeah.
1986. What if for Lynn Bias?
Oh yeah. No.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's a really good one. That is a really
and
good
one. That 30 for 30 will break your heart. He was from great parents. Dad, I think a postal employee, mama, school teacher, and so sad.
No, super sad for sure. But you're right. The what ifs, they are all over the place. But we need to wrap up this hour and get to another break. And when we return, we're going to talk all things Tigers. Greg Gaston, he joins us next.
Since 1948, in the alley, the rendezvous. I'm with John Burgess. John, what's going on in the rendezvous?
Brett, after 76 years, we've decided to expand our product line. Anyone who's tasted our ribs is familiar with our vinegar base. It's now available in the 32-ounce jar. It's so good the base will marinate all meats. I even put a little bit on turnip greens. Something we've been using at the restaurant or at our house has been the Greek seasoning. My father was a cook, but my mother was a chef. And she was the one that put Greek seasoning on everything from the Mediterranean diet to steak. My mom used it on soup, salad, veggies, fish, any meat. It's a great seasoning and a flavor enhancer. My brother Nick figured out salt and pepper is more than just McCormick's and Morton's. He's come up with the perfect blend we use to coat our shoulders and our brisket, and he used to make it for his friends as Christmas gifts, and they loved it. All these products are available at Rendezvous or online for shipping as gifts and in many grocery stores. And if they're not in your favorite grocery store, ask your grocer to stock it. A beloved family affair is still going strong since 1948. Rendezvous.
I don't think I'm a bad golfer. I know I'm a bad golfer. This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark's Pen Store Realtors. And sometimes bad is not quite the right word. Awful, that's more like it. And when it comes to selling houses, that's a whole different story. Over the many years that I've been in the real estate business, I have refined and perfected my highly successful strategic marketing program. In golf, forget about my normal 5 strokes on a par 3. But remember the home I just closed in November with 2 offers at full list price. Okay, let's review. If you're thinking of selling, wouldn't you want an experienced player on your team to lead you to the closing table? Someone whose background is marketing and not merely putting a sign in the yard. And remember what people often say, that when you want the job done, call who? Sheldon. You can reach me, Sheldon Rosengarten, at MemphisRelocate.com or 483-0546. That's 483-0546 or MemphisRelocate.com. And go Tigers.
It's summer in the Mid-South and deals have never been hotter at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. You'll find 0% for 36 months available on new 2025 Mitsubishi Outlander. Get 2024 Mitsubishi Mirage, car and driver rated #1 best non-hybrid electric fuel economy with 39 combined MPG. Buy Mirage, only $17,675. 2025 Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV plug-in hybrid, $299 a month with combined range of 420 miles. Beats Mazda CX-90's warranty and mileage. And 2025 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport, $28,480 or $349 a month. Plus peace of mind with 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So get to Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike and 24/7 at MemphisMitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
MSRP 17175, PHEV SC 0017030, MSRP 42615, Sport SU 06141, MSRP 28980, includes all rebates and incentives with 5691 down, excludes tax on a license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit dealer stock only.
Ken Garland, you are in your 72nd year of business. Your son William is now joining you. What do you think is the key to your longevity in the building business?
My dad started the business in 1965, and I think being on the job sites daily and being accessible to homeowners has been a key to our success.
You guys have a work ethic, as you like to say. You're not hiring people to be on the site. You guys are there every day.
We interact with the subcontractors multiple times a day on each job site. I think that has been a key, as well as using the same subcontractors 20 plus years in most cases.
When you talk about materials, what is the first thing you're thinking about when somebody comes to you to build a home?
We're just trying to meet the expectations of the client and the homeowner and the architect and give them what their dream is.
When you get a Ken Garland home, what do you guarantee?
We'll be there after the job is finished. We're still accessible to all our clients.
Now I need to know, how do I get a hold of Ken Garland?
You can reach us at kengarland.com.
This traffic report brought to you by Triangle Meat Company, feeding Memphis since 1967. Open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 4790 Summer Avenue. Trust Triangle Meat Company.
Good afternoon. It's gotten a little bit heavy. You're trying to get out of Midtown. Just in the last few minutes on 240 South and South Parkway, there's some storms out here in certain areas to the west of Memphis and even over in parts of Fayette County. This afternoon, as you travel down I-40, be careful. Dandelions, Crabgrass Lawn Solutions here in Memphis says give them a call right now at 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with John Harden. Weekdays from 11 to 1. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Once again.
You say you stand by your man. Tell me something.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Brian Brett with you live and local inside our Family Leisure Studios as we start our third and final hour. And we got to talk some Tigers, and we do it every Thursday with Greg Gaston.
From the Tiger sideline, it's Tiger Stock with Memphis broadcasting legend Greg Gaston. Here, Greg, with your mornings on Sports 56 mornings, along with Nye Savoy from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. On Twitter at Greg_Gaston. Here's Greg with Bryant and Brett.
Greg Gaston joins us every week to talk Tigers. Make sure you listen to him every morning from 7 to 10 with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli. Greg, thanks so much for joining us. A lot to get to about the Tigers, but I want to start with this story that was reported earlier this week that Memphis is planning to dissolve its NIL collectives with the house settlement revenue going through, as that will start at the beginning of the next month. What do you make of that? It feels like something that a lot of programs will be doing, of kind of getting rid of that outside NIL collective and try to keep everything more in-house.
Well, it's interesting. I think there's two ways to look at it. I still think power conferences will continue to have collectives because that's added revenue for the players to go along with what they're capping this first year at $20.5 million for rev share. So I'm not sure if all of those power conference schools will continue with collectives, but I think a lot of them will. As far as the group of five and smaller schools that are not going to hit that threshold of $20.5 million, they do want everything to be in-house. So any money that's being donated for the cause, for athletics, for players, for NIL purposes, or whatever the case may be from an athletic department standpoint, they want all that money to flow right through the university and just make it one. So it's understandable where they're going, but I think it's in a different direction than most of the power conference schools are going.
And Greg, and across kind of the big sports, football and basketball, do we really need a 100-man roster for college football and a 13 to 15-man roster for college basketball? Can't we tighten this up a little bit?
Yeah, there's things they could certainly tweak. They've had a long time to think about it while they waited for the House settlement to come through. It finally did, and yeah, I mean, there's a number of things they can do to try to save some money, and you feel bad for the players that would be players 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, and so on and so forth, because programs would have all these walk-on players. Now, what's good is that more than 85 are capable of getting scholarships, as you said, up to 105, but you don't necessarily have that money, especially at schools, like I said, in the group of five that don't have that money coming in, so they may not use all those scholarship spots, but the big-time programs are going to. So, it will benefit those players for certain. The walk-ons, as we know them, are basically gone. Now, you could still have some and not give them that money, but they certainly can, I think, make changes, and maybe in years to come, as they tweak the system, they will make those changes. I don't think anything is ironclad. We're right now in the midst of doing something that has never been done before with revenue sharing. So I think as they progress, they will look at what works and what doesn't work and then tweak the system.
And don't you think, or do you think that most of how the money distribution is going to be will be very similar to the NFL? Quarterbacks are going to get more. Running backs and wide receivers are going to get more. Those guys coming off the edge, they're going to get more. It was widely reported and speculated that was one of the real things that irritated Quinshon Judkins after he had agreed to a number at Ole Miss to return. Then they paid Jackson Dart a bigger number, and he went back and said, "Hey, I want that." Then I know that they told him, "Look, Quinshon, the rest of your football life, the quarterback's going to make more. You just have to understand that." Don't you think the distribution will look like NFL money?
Yes, absolutely. And it has to be explained so everybody understands that. First of all, football is going to get most of the money for revenue sharing. We know that. Certainly, there could be arguments from other coaches, but I think they understand where their bread is buttered. And then within the program, as you mentioned, Brett, you're going to look at the positions that you need to give the money most to those athletes and to make your program better, to make your team better. And it starts with the most important position in any sport and single most important position, and that's quarterback. Yeah, but it's going to get interesting when you're not going to put a set price per se, because you could have this incredible edge rusher that you want to pay more than, let's say, a running back or a very important left tackle if you got that right-handed quarterback. So they're not going to say quarterbacks get this much, running backs get this much, receivers get this much. But I think when it all comes down to push and shove, you're going to have the quarterbacks making the most money, skill position players and some of those important defensive positions getting more money than, let's say, an outside linebacker or a safety. It's just the way it's going to happen. Unless, of course, you think this one player is a player you can't live without, then you're going to make sure you reward him financially, because that's the important thing right now, is to be able to use it to your advantage to put the best team on the field that you can while being wise with the money that you have.
And especially in college with all these state schools, don't you think that all should be public information?
I wish it was. I know the private schools don't have to obviously release their information, but a state school, I would think that you should, and I wonder if that information will get out there eventually. I just don't know all the rules and regulations, but yeah, I think it would be nice to see. I mean, is it that important to people No, it's not. But for people that work in the media, yeah, it's certainly something to know. Then to be better educated on when you talk about this. It's a highly complicated system. It's all new, as I said to everybody. But to have more understanding of it by having the actual numbers in front of you and the data in front of you makes it a little bit easier to explain.
Yeah, we're all kind of learning as we get into this new world of college athletics. Speaking of this new world, conference realignment is a big factor. We talked with you a lot last week about the reporting from Pete Thamel of ESPN and his story about the Pac-12 and what they could do. I saw somebody talking about this. Maybe it was Jonah Dillon, but it looks like Texas State will get an official offer from the Pac-12 to join, and that they will accept that offer to go to the Pac-12. And he was pointing out that maybe with that being the one football playing conference member they needed left to remain FBS, that could give them some more flexibility to start looking at options for Memphis down the road, that it doesn't have to just be everything. Give us football only, go play something, and maybe more flexibility down the road. We also saw that they have gotten an agreement with CBS and CBS Sports Networks for the conference, one of what we expect to be several networks that will broadcast the Pac-12. This direction you see the Pac-12 moving in, are these steps that are good for the Tigers down the road to maybe one day be a part of that conference?
No, I don't think so.
I don't
there's a lot to unwrap there. Yes, they announced their deal with CBS, Paramount, but most of those games will be on CBS Sports Network. There's only a few that's going to be actually on the Big Boy. They will have their championship game on the Big Boy, but the amount of money that they are going to get per school from a report that I saw, and I don't know if this is accurate data, is $1 million per school with the CBS deal. $1 million. Think about that, $1 million per school. Now, they're going to have certainly other networks or streaming services for the bulk of their games to air. One of them, we've heard that will be Apple. Now, they had a deal with Apple before the Pac-12 imploded. In that deal with Apple, those schools were going to make an estimated between 20 and 23 million per school, which is great money. But that's when they had USC and Washington and Oregon and all the powers before it went kaput. So it's a whole different ballgame. If they get Apple as a streaming service, maybe they'll get one or two. But what type of money are we talking about? The money, I don't believe, is going to even come close to adding up to what you're getting from the American Conference. I know people point at the American, but the American's the best of the rest right now. And for Memphis, it's the best situation they can be in, unfortunately, at the moment. Now, they still have a goal to make it to a power conference, and you're looking at the ACC or the Big 12, but I don't think they're doing anything in the near future as far as expanding any further. So unless all of a sudden the PAC, once they got all their deals in place and they get a commitment from a service that says, oh, listen, we'll give you this amount, and if you want to add more schools, we'll give you this amount. I don't see that happening. I see right now you got the minimum, you start playing, and maybe down the road, if it's a good product, there's a chance to add, because all I think adding right now, if you wanted to go, let's say, to 10 teams, is less money for everybody, not more money, because I don't see networks opening up their purse strings to say, oh, yeah, here comes Memphis and Tulane, and, oh, we'll give you that much more money. I don't see that happening. The possible option that I think was reasonable to even consider if it came on the table would have been an offer from the PAC, pretty substantive offer, and then the Big East opening its doors for expansion in basketball, where Memphis would come in for all the rest of the sports. That has not materialized. The PAC offer never came except for last fall when Dr. Scott, rightly, in my opinion, turned them down. And he should have turned them down, despite some people saying he should have accepted. I know people are in a desperate situation. It's not dire, but yes, they want to move on to a better conference. Right now, the PAC, and whatever they want to call it, is not even close to what it used to be. So don't look at the name. Don't let that fool you. It is not right now advantageous for Memphis, and there's not even an offer on the table yet. So I went long-winded here, Brian, to answer your question. No, they're not in a better position. I don't see that happening. They're just going to continue to do what they can, continue to add to their athletic department, build revenue-sharing money, put in money to different projects like they're doing with the soccer stadium, with Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium, and make themselves as attractive as they can to one of the remaining power conferences outside of the SEC and the Big Ten for down the road. But we are talking now way down the road. This is not something that's going to happen in the next couple of years as far as those conferences adding teams.
Greg, two things I didn't think we would ever get to. I didn't think we would ever get to a real operational pause in conference realignment, but I think we're there. I know Texas State
right.
is making a move, but that doesn't move the needle a whole lot. And another one, I think we have settled in, of course, adjusted for our inflation and the times and things like that, but I think we have hit peak max rights fees.
I think so, too. And, yes, there's the little bit of movement that we just talked about with Texas State. I read that La Tech may move over into the Sun Belt, and Conference USA will stick at 10 after losing it. Okay, that's minimal. I'm talking about significant movement. What we will not see. The thought last year before they settled was, okay, maybe Clemson, Florida State with the lawsuits, maybe
North
they
Carolina.
abandoned the ACC. North Carolina, maybe they abandoned ship. But first of all, you need a landing spot, and it doesn't look like the SEC is in any rush to add any more teams. Then they settled. So it seems like for now, it's all honky-dory in the ACC. So I don't see them doing anything. I don't see the SEC adding. The Big Ten certainly not adding right now. The Big 12 is settled. And I think financially, I think, now I can't tell you for sure. I'm not a TV guy, what they're willing to pay. But it seems like, the amount of money that the power conferences are hauling in from their media rights contracts, it blows your mind. I just don't know how high they can continue to go. So I think maybe they've hit peak. And then the other thing, of course, is Notre Dame. Every time we think Notre Dame has to get into a conference, they turn around and go,
it works out for them.
It works out perfectly for the luck of the Irish. So, again, this goes back to what I said. I don't believe you're going to see any significant movement for a while. The only significant movement I even see on the horizon is if we have the SEC and the Big Ten pulling away or the SEC by themselves, and I don't even think that's going to happen. They're going to settle on a new contract with the playoff for 6 years. That'll take it through 31 or whatever it is, and I think we'll have maybe some rumors and things going on, but I think for the most part we have hit stability after just a wild ride over these last 3, 4, 5 years, and I think that's unfortunate for Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's that?
From COVID on, we had a wild ride.
Yes,
but and we're also settling in. This is the last year of existing contracts. They're all negotiating, stuff for the future. I think this locks everybody in until the 2030s.
Yeah, and this contract will probably be for 6 years, like I said, through 2031. I don't think you're going to see anything. So it's unfortunate that you are where you are if you're Memphis. But again, for what it's worth, and this is not a consolation to some people, but to me it is, they're in the best situation in the American. They could be in the Sun Belt. They could be in Conference USA. It could be a lot worse. And luckily, they brought in 2 years ago, those numbers were just released here in the last, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, that they brought in the most revenue from 2 seasons ago of all the schools in the American Conference. That's your consolation prize.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Talking to Greg Gassy, he joins us every Thursday to talk Tigers. The Tiger on Tour made their second stop at Huey's over on Southwind, or over by Southwind last week. And Penny Hardaway talked about a couple different things. He talked about Dane Danger and his waiver. He also said that they have a couple more players that are going to join the team that they have not announced yet. When do you think we hear news on more commitments and on Dane Danger? I guess the impossible question is, when do we hear anything from the NCAA, and what do you think goes into that? Because it's something that feels like is common with Memphis, is that someone applies to the NCAA and it's a forever waiting game. Is there something in there of, when they're putting these into the NCAA? Are they waiting too long and getting at the back of the line? What has gone into all of these delayed processes from the NCAA, and when do you think we could hear some news about Dane Danger?
Good question. I'll try to answer it somewhat. First of all, I think Huey's owes us for the free plug.
Yes.
So cheeseburger and cheese fries
take
for
it.
all of us. That would be nice, Huey's.
Count on that.
The first part. Let's go to the first part, and that's what you talked about with Penny, and then we'll get into the danger thing. Penny saying what he said 1 week after he said at the first Tiger on Tour stop in Arlington was that right now I have 12. I'm happy with the 12. We could be looking to add a 13th, even though they have 15 scholarships. That's basically what he said. I'm paraphrasing. Then he came back at this tour stop, and he did say a couple of players. He said players, or it was plural, the statement that he made. And so he said, I got a couple, and it just hasn't been announced. So, okay, two things. One, I checked with a couple of people that I know, insiders, and they think Penny misspoke and that it's not plural, it's one. But they do believe there's a player. And whether or not that player is practicing with the team right now, is on campus, we don't know, because they have announced 12. And Penny said, even if he misspoke, it's still there's a player that hasn't been announced. And so there's the speculation that maybe it's that Kyrie Huey guy who was originally at Miami, had committed to UTSA, and then decommitted from UTSA. I don't know if that's true. I mean, they kept everything on under a lid, very, very quiet. So there's going to be a player, I think, unless something backfires with Memphis. I just don't know who that player is. Whether it's multiple players, again, some people think, I don't think it's multiple, but you never know. And again, Penny's going to at least leave one of those scholarships open, I'm sure, for the season, because 2 years in a row now he's added a player at the midseason point. So I think he holds on to one. So whether it's one or two players, I don't know. It's anybody's guess, but I would imagine that we're going to find out soon. Maybe they're shoring up NIL stuff, or I don't know. I don't know what the holdup is, but he did say that about a player or players, and that they just haven't announced. As far as danger is concerned, boy, that's anybody's guess what the NCAA is going to do. What that particular part of the NCAA.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Like I've heard rumors that maybe he's already denied, and then they appealed. I don't know what's true on that. I do know that Parth wrote a really cool story in the DM, the Daily Memphian, the other day about an attorney, sports guy who's an attorney. I think his name is Mac Winter. I might have that name wrong, but he is really good at what he does. And he said he thinks, really looking at the entire case, that Danger really has ground to stand on. But we know with the NCAA, it's very, very hard to be given that waiver when they're going to stand firm on that he used that eligibility. Now you still have the story, the Kai Ziegler thing, which is a little bit different outside the box. They did grant Pavia, which was more junior college. So there's a lot of different things going on, but they're not all lumped into one category. And so the Danger thing, again, on paper, looks like he doesn't have any eligibility left. Now, they talked about possibly going to trial. Not trial, but going to court. So litigation. Here's the thing. What happens if Danger somehow gets picked tonight in the second round, late in the second round? I don't think it's crazy that he could get picked, but if he's not picked, certainly as an undrafted free agent, he'll get invited to a camp. He can play in Vegas, maybe try to show up some of the personnel on a particular team, make a team as a two-way. There's all kinds of things happening, and while that's happening, there's reportedly $2 million on the table for him, NIL money, for another year at Memphis, but he can't do anything about it. How long do you wait, not knowing that the NCAA, and I assume, hasn't given him a timetable? Now, maybe they have in secret, and we don't know. But if it's the NCAA, that pretty much tells me that at any time, any day, any place, they can make some sort of announcement. It could be 3 months from now. It could be tonight. So that's why I don't know. You're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place if you're Danger. You want to come back. It's more money than what you'll get in the second round unless you get some 3-year guarantee. And, again, I don't know if he'll get drafted. I doubt he will. But it's tough because the guy just wants to play, and he wants to get compensated for it.
And Greg, I am all for full steam ahead on the lawsuit. Sue. The NCAA, they're 0 for life in court, and you play it out and you eventually win. But with this exception,
in court, right?
Do we know where the Malcolm Dandridge academic case stands with the NCAA, and what do they have? What do they know? And the university would know what they have and what they know. And we know how vindictive and petty and truly mean that NCAA can be, that if you fight them in court on that, then here's the decision on this.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing because you're right. When you take it to the full tilt and then go to court, litigation, usually you have enough ammo to beat the NCAA. Not all the time, but a good portion of it. So you make a really good point there. A lot of players, a lot of athletes are not willing to go the distance. But if it's just a normal NCAA is going to rule on something, most of the time it's turned down. And with Memphis, they have not had a good track record with the NCAA when it comes to things of this nature. Usually they're told no. So I'm just banking on that where they will get the thumbs down. But again, go to litigate. If you want to take it, again, the full tilt, could you beat the NCAA? Possibly. But what are we talking about? How long will that take, that process? And in the meantime, he may miss the year. Then you're talking about eligibility because it would be a year. You can't play with 6 to play 4 or whatever it is. So, I mean, then you have that argument too. And then in the meantime, he's not looking at his he's not doing anything for his professional career. So he's 1 year behind on that. And I don't know how old he is, but he's not 19. Mm-hmm. So it's a very strange situation, Brett, as far as danger is concerned. But I really don't know. I don't have a guess right now how it's going to turn out.
Yeah. Does anybody ever even mention the Malcolm Dandridge case to you?
No. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, I have not heard word one since the uproar about it when it came out, it came to light. There has not really been anything. I don't think any of the media has asked or talked about it or pursued it. And, of course, the university is not going to offer up any information on that. I don't know where it is. I remember reaching out to Malco about coming on the show, and he said thanks but no thanks. But yeah, I'm not sure. That seemed to disappear, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it is kind of been lost in time. That is for sure. Well, Greg, as always, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll do it again next Thursday.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you, Greg.
Greg Gaston joining us like he does every single Thursday to talk Tigers, and a lot to talk about right now with what next season's roster could look like, who will be on that roster, and especially with this Dane Danger situation. When and what do we hear from the NCAA?
Do you think the NCAA is just going to gently let the Malcolm Dandridge case drift into the night?
No, absolutely not.
They never do.
No, definitely
it's the
not.
meanest bunch ever.
Yeah, I mean, that's what makes this almost more of like it's getting lost and it's getting forgotten about, and then it feels like one day you're going to have the hammer drop and, you're going to get some sort of punishment. Everyone's going, what is this for? What is this suspension or whatever for? And we're all going to go, oh, yeah, that Malcolm Dandridge situation. So, no, it's definitely something to keep in the back of your mind because you feel like you're going to get some sort of answer about it at some point soon. But we need to get to another break. Before we do that, let me remind you about our 5 o'clock sponsors, Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Jaguar Bluff City has been the premier Jaguar dealership for the greater Memphis area since 1984, and their talented team is ready to help you find your next perfect vehicle at unbeatable rates. Swing by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City today and check out the new 2025 models like the 2025 Range Rover Sport, the 2025 Range Rover Velar, and the 2025 Defender. Test drive the Range Rover Sport, where luxury meets performance. It's a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility, with options ranging from 360 horsepower up to 635. It's also available as a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle with $7,500 federal tax credit when leased with approved credit. Take a look at the Range Rover Velar, powered by mild hybrid technology and enhanced with the latest well-being features and fully connected entertainment system. The Range Rover Velar is the ultimate luxury compact crossover. Purchase yours today and get special 4.4% for 72 months financing available with approved credit. Don't forget about the Defender. Available in multiple models to fit your needs, the Defender is built for the modern explorer, and Jaguar Bluff City is offering special interest rates for 60 and 72 months on various models. Give them a call, 877-259-6169. Go online to jaguarbluffcity.com, but head out there and test drive one of those new vehicles. 6335 Wheel Cove, just off of Quince for Bluff City Jaguar. Well, let's go ahead and get to another break, and when we return, we'll talk about what's trending.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
That's the whole point. It's a secret.
Why does Central Barbecue feel like they have to keep the ingredients of their dry rub a secret?
Because it's just that good. If people could find out the ingredients in Central Barbecue's dry rub, they could reverse engineer it and make their own Central Barbecue dry rub.
Reverse engineer? These aren't state secrets.
They may as well be. This is serious business. Central Barbecue already tells everybody that they slow smoke their meat for a full 24 hours over hickory and pecan, and that there's never any sauce in the pit. They're giving away too much information as it is.
They're not giving away secrets. It's advertising. They're boasting about those things.
You are so naive.
I've got him on the line, Marty McNeil with Costco Volkswagen Germantown, and he's ready to put you in a new Volkswagen today.
That's right, Randy. Guess what I've got available now? 2025 Jettas and 2025 Tails, 4.9% for 60 months. I've also got 25 Atlas and Atlas Crossports, 3.9% for 60 months.
What else you got over there, Marty McNeil?
On top of that, get 1,500 loyalty rebate on all 2025 GTIs, Jettas, Tails, Tiguans, Atlas, and Atlas Crossports.
And you were telling me earlier you got $5,000 off 2024 Atlas Crossport SELR lines, but only 2 left, so you got hurt.
So come see me today, Marty McNeil at Gossett Volkswagen Germantown, 7420 Winchester Road, or shop online at GossettVWG.com. And remember, your future is what you make of it.
Every success you've had began with a great opportunity. Now there's another one. Last aid year, University of Maryland Global Campus awarded over $21 million in scholarships to qualified students, including community college students, service members, veterans, and working adults. Now is the time to move your career forward with an online and accredited skills-based education. Learn more at UGC.edu. Certified to operate in professional.
Pools, and more pools. Yes, it is pool time at Family Leisure. Family Leisure is already booking pool installs, so you need to buy now and get on that list. 24-foot pools start at $19.99 install. Liners are starting at $2.99. You're going to need some pool accessories, so they're all up to 20% off. Not quite ready for a pool? That's fine. Get a 5 or 6 person hot tub starting at under $7,000. You can also go for a swim spa or perhaps a cold plunge tub. Those are now $2,000 off. Get patio furniture up to 50% off on select sets. Buy your pool now. Get on that install list. Mention this commercial, and your install is free. It's underlined in the in bold print, so you know it's big. It's pool time at Family Leisure. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
This traffic brought to you by Raleigh Tire Auto Service, your local family-owned business for over 60 years.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Still a bit of volume over here from the earlier crash we had, but it's just busy on 240 East up by Poplar up to Walnut Grove. Still some thunderstorms out here in certain areas. Be careful. Starting to build pretty good again on I-40 eastbound from Sycamore View Road all the way out into Fayette County, where, again, there is some showers in Fayette County. Dandelions, Crabgrass Lawn Solutions says give them a call here in Memphis at 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant Brett with you as we got about 30 minutes left in today's show. We got to talk about what's trending. Couple of things trending that I wanted to get to. One of those being we talked about Ace Bailey earlier. We talked about him with Keith, but since we had Keith on, this coming out, Ace Bailey's agent informed one top 5 team, believed to be either the Hornets or the 76ers, that if they selected Ace Bailey, told him that they did not want Ace Bailey going there, and that if they decided to draft Ace Bailey, he would not report to the team. I think Ace Bailey needs a new agent.
He really does. I don't know how those teams would go on without Ace Bailey.
Yeah, oh man, I just
It's almost like the PGA Tour without Taylor Gooch on it.
That's right. I mean, just the entire draft process.
How do we go on?
Yeah, I mean, it's just gonna come to a complete halt.
I'm so glad he's got to go to Utah.
It's gonna be rough in Utah. That team's not
And he'll
very
take
good
every
this
automatic
year.
deposit they put in.
Oh yeah, of course. You know,
And he should.
Absolutely should. But,
and then if you want that next contract, you
yeah.
better produce.
That's right, and we'll see if he can do that. I mean, that's the thing is, nobody has questioned, that he's a talented player. It's just the way that his team has kind of handled this since the end of the season, and the way that they just didn't work out for anybody, and told teams not to draft him. It's just been a very weird process. So yeah, hopefully he can get on the court and be fine. But I think this is something that everyone around him, I would hope, wants to get far away from, and hopefully a change to the agent will be coming soon, because it's just been very weird.
There's a lot of June stories, isn't it?
Oh, man.
The performer at the halftime show at the Super Bowl back in February, there was a whole he was arrested, and he held up a Sudanese flag, and the message said, "Sudan and Free Gaza," arrested by the Louisiana State Police on Thursday, and his name, Zulkarnain Kawami Nantambu, 41, of New Orleans.
Wow.
But also, he was one of the people that a stray bullet from Antonio Brown in Vegas grazed.
Holy cow! What a last couple months he's had.
I'd just say, Mr. Nantambu, maybe the NFL is not your thing.
Yeah, maybe not.
You find a little trouble with it.
Yeah, maybe not.
Try to stay away from Antonio Brown and at halftime shows.
Yeah,
he was part of the performance team, and they signed a contract to not freelance, to not go rogue. He did, and then tried to run from them, and it was arrested.
Interesting, huh? Interesting. Yeah. Maybe stay away from all of that. But Antonio Brown, I don't know if you've kept up with him since he left the NFL, but it's been crazy.
It's been checkered.
Checkered is putting it nicely. It's been really rough.
Does it come as any surprise? He left the NFL doing a striptease.
I mean, it was awesome when it happened, but it does not
He
surprise me
left
at all.
all but going.
Quite literally. Didn't take his pants off, which is that's all I as long as he kept those on, I was a fan of it. And the moment,
it was getting close.
The moment he went below the belt was the moment I checked out, Brett. And thankfully,
he was getting
did not
close.
do that. He was getting very close.
Man, what a walk-off.
I mean, it's memorable. We'll never forget it, I mean, there'll be thousands of guys that retire from the NFL. They will never remember it.
Tom Brady going to the mat to get you signed.
Sure did. I mean, doing everything he possibly could to get you on his team and get you another chance. It has been a wild couple of years for Antonio Brown, to say the least.
Speaking of Tom Brady, and I will continue it this year. Love him.
Yep.
I've got him listed as my number one NFL player of all time. His greatness, it speaks for itself. He's got to decide, am I an announcer or am I in a front office? Now news out that he's the one that bigfooted and vetoed Sam Darnold to the Raiders.
Really?
Through his front office presence with the Raiders.
Cow. Yeah.
Where did he glean all this information?
Yeah,
on the Fox dime, being an announcer.
That's right. Yeah. You gotta make a decision.
You got to do one or the other. If you want to play front office, fine. You run a team.
By all means, and I'll be completely for that. If Tom Brady says I want to run a team and I want every decision to come through me, good for you.
I'll go to
We
my
can't do
final breath. It's the league knowing. It's the league's penance. It's the price they have to pay knowing that Deflategate was a big can of hooey.
Yeah, no, you when you proposed that, I don't know when it was the first time you brought that up, but I had not really thought about it before. But the more I think,
They can't say I'm sorry enough over Deflategate.
So they say, you know what, Tom, do whatever you want to do. You want to run a team and be in the booth? By all means, go crazy.
And they did. They humiliated him.
Oh, they did. No question about it.
Well, suspended him.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, I guess letting him do this, but that is crazy because you're right. I mean, he is getting all of this information for his show on Sunday to be able to do the game, and it feels like, whether he's intentionally doing it or not intentionally doing it, he has that knowledge and is making decisions within.
I can't believe
Vegas.
other teams aren't having trouble.
I mean, if I was an owner somewhere, I'd say you're not coming anywhere near my team building.
Here's who I think will pipe up first in the division. No love lost. Hardcore competitor. Sean Payton says, "Wait a second. I don't need you in my building.
We're good. Yeah.
On coming in here to interview Bo Nix."
Yeah. No, I think you're right. Because I mean, just it makes no sense. Sean Payton would be the one that would step
Wouldn't
up and say, "You're not coming anywhere near my building." So maybe we see that. I don't know, but Sam Darnold, we'll see what he can be this year. I know Landon's not super high on Sam Darnold because I was trying. I was doing everything possible. Brett, say Sam Darnold would be a great fit for you in Nashville. He could be a Tennessee Titan, and Landon wanted nothing of it. Landon's Tom Brady, I guess.
Just the perfect year, but how it ended stays with us all. Then that's what we're scared of.
Mm-hmm. How it ended, and then Landon brought up a really good point of that system is very quarterback friendly, and maybe fits there. Can it fit everywhere else? Can you go to another team and have that success? Because we really saw a track record of not having really any success anywhere, and then he lands in a spot. He thrives, and now he's going to be somewhere else. And can he thrive in that environment? I guess we'll find out here in a couple months.
We don't, mercifully for us and for our listeners, we don't go through NFL W's and L's like we do American and SEC teams.
Yeah.
But after we had quarterback rankings on Tuesday with Bo, our first one was NFC East. Later that night, I said, let me look at that Giants schedule again. If Wilson's starting, if Jameis is starting, or if Jackson Dart is starting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it doesn't matter who's starting. I mean, the return of Phil Simms and Eli Manning, they may not win 4 games.
Yeah. No. I mean, we've talked a lot about that first 6-game stretch that they have. Hey, it's impossible. It's brutal. And then
that schedule, they could be 0-10.
I believe it.
With any of those 3 starting.
That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Do you want to put your rookie through that?
Mm-mm. And it's the decision you have to make because, I mean, if you're an owner, someone in the front office, a coach, do you want to put your rookie out there? But the more losses that stack up, the more the fans are going to be begging you to play your rookie and to get that young guy out there. So it's
I might be out.
Sure. Well, that's a very good point as well. So I mean, I do not envy the Giants at all going into the season.
And last year in the NFL, we talked about it down the stretch of the year. The NFL is so great at all those potential playoff scenarios. It wasn't. There was an upper class and a lower class last year in the NFL like we had never seen before. And I was looking at other schedules after looking at the Giants the last couple of nights and thinking we could have that again to where you have, teams of renown and then teams that are just fodder.
Yeah, it'd be weird if we saw it 2 years in a row, but I think you're right. We definitely could see it.
For the ultimate, we want everybody to be around 9-8, 8-9.
That's right, yeah. And that's
everything's set up for everybody to be the same.
I was just thinking about that when you were talking about how we don't do W's and L's for how impossible that would be most years to do W's and L's for the NFL because, I mean, who knows who's going to win on any given Sunday?
We can't do the nice people like that.
Certainly not. But that would be the ultimate. Everyone has 8-9 wins, and
it's hard enough for me to cross-check and make sure college for SEC. Now with 16 in the SEC.
Oh man,
Man, that's a lot.
No, it's a lot. It doesn't sound like fun. That's why I leave that to you. You know, you can keep up with everyone's wins and losses, but it won't be too much longer before we're doing W's and L's for college football.
It won't be.
We'll get here soon. So
you know where I'm leaning.
Hey, you've already gone through with the lightly shaded pencil and
I have
gone through W's and L's. I have not, so I gotta get to
There's
work.
a lot of teams that look the same. They're good.
Yeah, well,
they're real good.
I'll be honest, Brett.
But they play each other.
That's exactly right. But I mean, you brought this up today, and we've talked about it a lot. But when you 2 weeks ago brought up what team in the SEC got better with a new with a new quarterback, I have not been able to stop thinking about it, and you were exactly right. I mean, it's
Jackson Arnold's got the very rare where he can win last year on the road at Auburn, but win this year with Auburn against Oklahoma.
And the best part was when, I don't remember if it was last week or the week before, when we asked Bruce Marshall about it, and he said he almost went the very rare Oklahoma got better getting rid of Jackson Arnold, and Auburn got better getting Jackson Arnold. I mean, how in the world does that work?
The thing that stood out to me, you just saw him in person one time, but watched him a lot on television after being told over and over again by OU partisans, mostly at SEC media days, but also in the rest of the run-up to college football, that they were SEC ready. They weren't. But the most alarming thing for me is the OU speed that I've known all my life under Switzer and even big game Bob Stoops as coach. They didn't have that.
No, they did not. I mean, they didn't look. They didn't look like they belonged.
They
as
didn't.
simple as it is, they did not look like they belonged at all. In
And
any
as I
facet
said
of
yesterday, you can talk all you want about the bowls don't matter. That bowl game lost to Navy, I can't unsee.
The way that game played out, the long touchdown run, I mean, it was one of those that it stayed with you, and it I think will continue to stay with Oklahoma until hopefully they do something big this year, and we'll see if they're able to do that. But we need to get to our final break of the day here in a second. Before we do that, let me remind you about our friends over at Frontier Western Store. Perfect opportunity this week or even this weekend. Maybe you're going to go to a 4th of July party or go out and watch some fireworks. You need that new outfit for the night. Well, Frontier Western Store, they've got you. They are the one-stop shop for some of the biggest brands in Western wear. And while you're there, you can check out the world-famous boot showroom. Whether it's work boots or dress boots, Frontier Western has you covered for the entire family with plenty of in-stock proven classics like Ariat, Dam Post, and Durango, just to name a few. Frontier Western, I mentioned they've got all those great brands, but they're the one-stop shop for Carhartt in the Mid-South. But they've got you covered when it comes to shirts, jeans, outerwear, whatever you're looking for, they've got it. Do you need a new pair of jeans? Well, Frontier has you covered with the biggest brands from Ariat to Wrangler, and you'll love how easy it is to find the perfect style and size for you. Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know you'll be getting the best deals. Head down to 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch and check out the entire selection. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Head out to Frontier Western Store, see what they've got to offer. Well, we need to get to our final break, and when we return, we'll wrap up today's show with Moe's Crunch Time.
Extraordinary events from once in a blue moon, and right now, even the most extravagant luxuries are well within reach. The one and only May sale is back at Sissy's Log Cabin, and you can save up to 50% on nearly everything in the store. This is your chance to get the service, selection, and experience that makes you feel like family at the best prices of the year. Guaranteed. Don't miss the one and only May sale at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Winchester and more. Guaranteed lowest prices at all. Only gun and bar in the Mid-South. Free gun inspections, free bar
Jason's Deli. When you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Give me those sauces, grab the chicken strips, let's dunk them in there. There's nothing like it. Hey, I'm Joey. And I'm Josh, and we're team members at our local Chick-fil-A. And a little thing you'll love about the Chick-fil-A chicken strips is dipping them in our sauces. My sauce is the barbecue sauce. If you wanted to add sweet, tangy flavors, there's nothing like it. I love the garden herb ranch sauce, but if you want a little bit more kick in the spicy side, you can mix it with buffalo sauce. Dipping them in our sauces, it is perfection.
It's the summer of Chick-fil-A chicken strips and sauces. Order now on the Chick-fil-A app. Team members paid for their testimonials.
All 650 acquisition fee, 20,000 miles per year. K4 SE 137 210, MSRP 24,340, K5 S 536 6209, MSRP 29,170, Sportage SG 270 117, 55, MSRP 34,115, Telluride SG 66 2001, MSRP 41,060. Must finance through KFA, excludes tax title and license with approved credit dealer stock only. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 07/2/20. Hey, Jeff Allen, I hear the Gossett Kia summer sticker sales event is on now at Gossett Kia South on Mount Moriah.
It sure is, Randy, and listen to this. I've got a 2025 Kia K4 LXS at $150 a month. That's $5 a day for a new ride. 2025 Kia K5 LXS, $265 a month. 2025 Kia Sportage X-Line, $275 a month. Plus 2025 Kia Telluride S front-wheel drive, $359 per month. All $49.99 due at signing, 24-month lease.
Plus a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty in the all-new 2026 EV9 with 72 months at 3.49 available.
So if you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
Crunch Time is brought to you by Moe's Southwest Grill. Need a crunchy bite to eat? Head to Moe's for nachos, crunch wraps, tacos, salads, and more. Moe's.com is your go-to for all your taco crunch time emergencies.
This is pretty cool, and we're just getting started, so.
Spanning the globe.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskell.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
Crunch Time is brought to you by Moe's Southwest Grill. Need catering? Moe's Taco Truck is always ready to cater for you. Just give Jenny Nash a call at 901-606-3172. Moe's.com is your go-to for all your taco crunch time emergencies. Well, Brett, what I learned today was actually something I was reminded of last night during and after the NBA draft. We talked about it being a big night for Duke with 3 guys being drafted inside the top 10, but it was also a big night for Montverde. 4 members of Montverde's 23-24 team were drafted in the first round last night. Cooper Flagg obviously went number 1. Derek Queen went later. Asa Newell went very late in the first round, and Liam McNeely, one of the final selections in the first round of the NBA draft. But another piece of that Montverde team that won a national title was new Memphis point guard Curtis Givens III, who went down to Montverde, played a big role for that team, and now next year he'll be suiting up for Penny Hardaway.
Would you describe Givens as shoot first or pass first?
Oh, geez. I would probably describe him as pass first.
That's what I always want my
yeah,
answer to be with point guard.
It's been a while since I've seen him play, so check back with me closer to the start of the season.
What I learned, the Cardinals take the first two against the mean old Cubs, winning 8-2 and 8-7, and then lose the next two, scoring a grand total of 0. None.
Not good. Not good. Could have been what you could have done without today. Is just the lack of offensive production. I mean, that is just terrible.
That's got real quiet, didn't it?
No, silent, if you will. What I could have done without today, it's got to be the story that everyone has been talking about around the NBA draft, and that is Ace Bailey. I was hoping last night that once he got drafted, that maybe we wouldn't hear any more of this. You know, he'd be fine going to Utah and we would just play basketball. But now more stories coming out. It feels like there will be more stories than just this, that Ace Bailey's agent informed a team drafting inside the top 5 that they didn't want to go to that team and that if they drafted him, that he would not report to the team. Ace, get a new agent. I mean, I don't know what they are advising you, but it has just seemed like it has been every single wrong move you could take. They have taken it, and now Ace Bailey will start his career in Utah, a place that was not one of his preferred destinations.
I could have done without a lot of the draft coverage last night. It was mediocre. Some had no business on that level. A lot of junior-level college interns putting together a tape would have provided more professional coverage than that last night. It was bad.
Yeah, it was not a great showing for ESPN.
Everybody knows it.
Yeah, and I'm worried about what tonight could be for the second round. For those who are going to watch the second round, I think it will not be great tonight on ESPN. Where are you beaming tonight?
Beam me up to the only baseball game tonight. Maybe one of the slowest nights since last year at All-Star break time. We got All-Star coming up. Braves at Mets. Braves just can't seem to get a lot strung together.
No, they really can't, and it was a good win for the Mets last night. They'd really struggled against Atlanta, but getting that big win last night, we'll see if they can do it again. Beam me up to Canada. We've got a CFL game tonight. Edmonton and Winnipeg later tonight, 7:30. You can watch that on CBS Sports Network if you need that football fix in your life.
Great Caesars ghost, the midfield's the 55.
Yeah, it's different. It's different, but I guess it's all the same. It's all
hockey
football.
going to 84 games.
Yeah.
Please, NBA, don't do it.
Yeah,
Please.
I thought that was weird. I haven't read into it enough, but I thought that was a little weird seeing
draft should have been
earlier.
tonight. One night tonight.
Go back to one night, put it on a Thursday, and no reason for this draft to be 2 nights. But that's all time we have. Enjoy your night, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon.
Everything today is technologically based. Except maybe you. If you're struggling with tech, no matter what kind, call Tech for You. Tech for You for TVs, home theaters, cameras, smart locks, digital storage, and more. Tech for You makes it simple and affordable. 697-9695. Make your home safe, comfortable, and up to date with Tech for You. Stop struggling with tech. Call 697-9695. Veteran-owned and operated. Tech for You. Technology simplified.
It's time to turn corners and turn heads in your new Gossett Kia from Gossett Kia 1900 Covington Pike. Discover peace of mind in your new Kia with Kia's 10-year 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. How about $5 a day in 2025 Kia K4 LXS, $150 a month. 2025 Kia K5 LXS Week Gossett, $265 a month. 2025 Sportage, $275 a month. And 2025 Kia Telluride S, $359 a month. We got some covered for every family and every